everybody. Welcome to Two Sides of the Same Coin. I am your co host, Joseph, and my other co host here is
Luis.
And we are basically two nerds who love to talk about niche topics and subjects such as STEM, advanced mathematics and sciences, to computers, GPUs, CPUs, transformers, AI, to video game lore, just consoles as well, hardware, input latency, input delay, and even talking about the Final Fantasy VII lore, which we may or may not get into. But point being is we probably are going to be two of the nerdiest people you have. If you are friends with us, we are probably two of the nerdiest people you know. And so basically, to provide, and since this is our very first episode, Luis, to provide some brief background on you and myself as well, I guess you can, if you want, your floor is yours to share like a bit about yourself, how you grew up, and like I guess since this is a podcast about nerdy tech and like niche games and everything in between too, like I guess how you came to be so interested in the fine details of like a lot of these things that probably a lot of other people would not be invested in.
Fair. So okay, for me, like I've been always a curious kid to know everything. It could be history, and it could be like anything of it. So like companies, like why did this happen to this company? I don't care. 1800s, 1900s, it could be that. And from there, like I wanted to know why. Like I was so in love with my phone. My first phone literally was a BlackBerry color. I don't know if anybody knows. Yeah, so mine was the black color, like of all, because I thought it was the most neutral color, and I didn't want to copy my brother, which he had the blue one already. So BlackBerry, I wanted to know everything about what I had. Because I appreciate everything I have. I don't like to just like grab it and toss it around and destroy it. I take care of all my things. So with BlackBerry, I don't know if some people even know today, they don't exist at all.
So are you just calling us out, Luis, that we're boomers? Are you just labeling us as old?
Hey, I'm just saying, BlackBerry. Hey, they're security now.
For sure.
And that again comes I'm so curious, like why does this do this and do that, and like I want to know everything about it. Okay, and that's how I got to tech through my first phone ever, because I appreciate it so much. And from there, every single time my dad would give me like a new car, or not a new car, like a new like little toy car, I want to know everything about it. Like, okay, how does this make it move, and how does this operate? And so like I need to know the motor, I need to know like the IR blaster. That's one. So like when I got my first console, like, why do I need to have a wire? Why does it make it better? Is it better? Is it better than wireless?
I thought Luis, if it's wireless, it should be more, practical, and like, I don't have to. I can be as far away as I want, and I can still get the same input. Response time. Right?
No, I did that. I even said and I'm not trying to call my family, but I thought the bigger the person is in front of my controller, it wouldn't work. So it's like, sister, I see you're big.
Oh my god.
But I was just so curious. I was a curious kid.
Yeah, okay.
And so it works. I'm like, oh, is this gonna hurt you? Like if like you're in front of it enough, would this mess you up? And I find out it doesn't really. It's just small radiation doses. But so that, calling out my family on that. I tested on myself. Obviously, it went through. But I need it thick. Hey, is thicker gonna affect it? I think I even put like some plush in front of it, and it just, I'm like, maybe the does it work? Like I did everything because I was a curious kid. That's where curiosity got me into science, and I love science. I know most people hate science, and then science, math, and got into physics. I love physics to this day, because like Yeah, because it's interesting. It keeps me curious. I don't like things that are like, and whoever loves English or loves writing Spanish, great for you. Like whatever your language is and you love it, great. But I just find it boring. Like it's too still, it's too predictable. But science, yes, there's some predictable things like 2 plus 2 always will be 4. And of course, if you put oil and water, it will separate. Obviously, there's predictable things. We need that.
Yeah.
But the things that you don't expect when you do these things, it's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Let me research that, why it happens. And so like you go into like a rabbit hole and
this
you know what I mean? And also like even now I have literally an iPhone 15. Okay, I've been talking with Joseph about actually get rocking 2 phones. Now there's a rabbit hole there. It's like, okay, I haven't been in Samsung or the Android ecosystem in a while. Man, am I gonna have to like do my research, and then if I find a phone, find out all about that phone.
Yeah.
See if it's even worth that, and then find out maybe not, maybe yes. I got some suggestions from Joseph here, but like the only time I will ever like trust one review and that's it. It's like if they're my like really good friend. So like Joseph, literally me and Joseph have the same mic right now. So like
true.
that, so you know that I will trust, but like if anything, I have to do my own research. And I know Joseph, you do your own research on your tech until you're like settled, and even then, probably like mess with the tech, test it out, clock it out until you're like, okay, it stands its worthiness. So that's me for that. Curiosity literally is me. So I would say that's like one thing you guys will know about me throughout the times of the podcast here, and curiosity will keep driving me to like want to find out more and why this works, how it works, and we'll eventually get into some science stuff of IR for that. So I want to know more about that. You know, Joseph. And curiosity is mine. If you want to introduce yourself, Joseph, to see why you like tech or, all in between, go for it.
For sure. For me, growing up, I also had a BlackBerry. I just forget the type of model it was, but for sure, I did not start off with and I never used iPhone, and that's just how I grew up. And it was more so because the phone my mom gave me, because when you have parents and you're growing up, you'll usually have hand down stuff, right? Or here's this phone that I was gifted or something, I don't really need it, so here you can have it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I just had that BlackBerry, and then I eventually had a Motorola phone and another Motorola phone to a Samsung J7, which was which is an equivalent of the Samsung FE phones nowadays. Basically, it's those cheap here's a Samsung brand phone, but it's the cheaper alternatives, or the cheaper lines compared to the main line.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So for the longest time I had the J7, and then I upgraded to OnePlus 7 Pro, and then eventually my daily driver now is a Samsung Z Fold 4. But why I mentioned the phone lineup is because during that process, when I got the J7, it was mainly just because I just needed to replace my phone, because my old Motorola was getting old. And at the time, this was early high school, freshman year of high school, around that time, where I didn't really care about camera. I didn't really care about refresh rates at that time. It was just more of I just needed the phone to do what I wanted to do, and just do the basic minimum of streaming and just take photos and stuff, right? But once the pandemic hit, funnily enough, that's when I started becoming more of a nerd, I guess, and started to become more interested in things, because I just so the unique thing for me is, growing up, I didn't go to a public school. Same thing with my siblings. We were homeschooled, and so we just stayed at home for the most part, just online learning. And at the time, we would have pre-recorded video lessons that you just watch, and then you do the textbook, and then in high school, that's when I'm still at home, but before everyone did Zoom and online classes, I was basically doing that for high school, and my school was providing that. So basically, like an hour to an hour and a half a day for one class, then another class. And it's cool is that every class was like a weekly meeting, or in some cases like algebra, there would be two meetings. It was a bi-weekly meeting. But point being, it's like it's still lesser meetings compared to if you go to high school, like you go to class every day.
Yeah.
So for me, I got so used to that when the pandemic hit, when everybody was like getting so used and having their struggles with it, I was unaffected. And in fact, like I was just like, okay, I have this time because like I can't really go outside because of lockdown and stuff, right? Because the only things really affected in my social life was at the time when I did MMA and church. And so, of course, it was limited and we had to social distance and do everything online. But church, we still went to in person for sure. But point being is that there's a little bit more free time that I have now during the pandemic. So I was like, okay, I know I want to research my interests and hobbies with all this time I have now. And I also wanted to see what new phone I could get eventually. So that's when I started getting into like tech. And this is where I started getting into PC builds. Like even a little bit before pandemic, I was starting already to research like what if I was interested in PC builds and how I would put the list together and eventually, like literally, I'm the type of person who would make a Google Doc or a Word document and list out like, okay, here's an option, here's my like ideal option for the motherboard, and then here's an alternative if I can't get that motherboard. So literally I'll have like two different links for the same component per component. So like I have two different links for motherboards, two different links for CPUs, and etc for all the PC components.
Okay.
And it's just like, here's the reason why this is my primary choice and here's my secondary choice. And it's just like, here's my reasons, here's my other reasons, like, oh, money wise, or just like if I get this CPU, it matches better with that GPU, or like that, you know, cooler, that AIO cooler. I could go on for days about this.
I feel that.
Basically, late 2019 to all the way to the end of 2020 was like that time period for me of researching like tech, getting into the nitty-gritty details of like, oh, why, like how I like different refresh rates, different color palettes, like screens, to PC builds, to just eventually when AI was starting to become more of a conversational thing, I started researching that, like software, programming, coding. I learned more about that. And like that's when I got my new phone, which was the OnePlus 7 Pro at the time, late 2020. Or sorry, early 2020, because my PC build I got late 2020. And that was basically the time period of me like, okay, I got the stuff I wanted, so now I'm going to experiment, like, and basically benchmark it. I want to see what I can do. And also the neat thing with Android, which I'm not downplaying iPhone for, but I just love what I can do with Android is APKs. You can download certain apps. You can even roll back to previous builds, right? So one of the things about the OnePlus 7 Pro is the camera on it is the weakest. And honestly, it's still not a bad camera, but like
it doesn't work.
With a fair critique, it is the weakest point of the phone. And so if you go on XDA forums, which is Android developer forums, there's an easy solution to fix the camera, and you just download a APK or an app called, no, it's not even illegal, it's very legal.
No.
Like it's very legal. It's basically a modified app of Gcam or Google Cam, basically the same camera app that Pixel phones have. And so it's a modified version of it for the OnePlus 7 Pro, and then you can even download preset profiles for other phones, and you can see how the color science would work with the actual color camera specs of the OnePlus 7 Pro. And I use that instead of the stock camera app because I'm like, the difference is night and day. Why would I ever go back to the stock camera? And so that's part of me benchmarking. And then like I would also go to you know how you can unlock developer mode in Android.
Yeah.
I would do
Yes.
that so I can unlock like
Oh.
okay, turn on Wi-Fi throttling and then like show me like or like and then
Oh,
I even use on from XDA forums again. Bless your hearts, XDA developers.
yes.
I literally did the ATB boot thing where like you connect your phone to the PC and then you have a command
You went
prompt
all
open and then
in.
you
Oh
there
my
because there's in the setting of the OnePlus 7 Pro there is it says 90 hertz but it's dynamic. It depends on the content, so it's not locked at 90. So there's a way to bypass it where if you unlock USB debugging in developer options and then you put ATB boot command and you enter two commands, you unlock the 90 hertz at lock, so it's 90 frames always. And I did another thing for the OnePlus 7 Pro where it gives me the color. It gives me the color.
Developer.
You know how you can change color, like the color, like if you want it warmer or cooler, or there's different presets for displays.
Yeah.
I added another option where it unlocks like the cinema mode or something, because you're only limited to 3 at the OnePlus 7 Pro. It was vivid, sRGB, and I think standard. But I was like, I want the cinema one, and the cinema one looks way better, and so I did that too. Again, no one really is gonna do this, but I'm that type of person to do it. So I did it, and then basically, in short, for my PC, no real reason to overclock it, especially with the specs I have. I still overclock them. Literally, I changed the RAM timing, I changed the CPU hertz, and I changed the GPU like VRAM. I'm like, that's how dedicated I am to like learning.
Who hasn't overclocked their PC eventually? You know, just come on, let's be honest.
No, yeah, but like for me, like I overclock it very specifically to like I want it to balance like the fan noise and also temp. But like obviously when you overclock it, you're generally overclocking it to do more at the cost of like temperature, and like you need the fans to spin faster so it's louder. But for me, it's like I try to be in between, and that takes a bit longer. But I'm also the type of person who doesn't mind the time, because I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is my stuff. Like, you know?
Yeah. I see what you mean.
But yeah, long story short, from the phone, from my OnePlus 7 Pro to the PC build, basically to speed it up till now, I again upgraded some parts for my PC, and I switched to a new phone, which is the Samsung Z Fold 4, which I will also say I did unlock USB debugging, and I did the 120 hertz locked, because again 120 hertz is dynamic, so I don't want that. I want, if I'm paying, especially how much this phone costs, it's a premium phone, I want to like, you know, use it and make it my money's worth. So I don't care if the battery will die a little faster, because like at this point, if I have 120 hertz on the phone, I might as well have 120 hertz on the phone. And also I justified it because my main monitor on my computer is 165. So I'm like, just to minimize, you know, the on the eyes, you know. Speaking of eyes, we will talk about that later maybe.
Yes.
About the frame.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Long story short, within late 2019 to now, I've basically become invested so much into learning tech, like audio, like being I wouldn't even consider myself audio, but like I like I like hi-fi audio, and even like FLAC files, and open back headphones with a DAC and amp, and then to like PC, like overclocking and specs, to smartphones, to so many other things, like even camera, like ISO speed, shutter speed, and ISO settings, like HDR, everything in between. And you can even see like some of the stuff here, like I have tech.
It tells you that you are a tech.
Like here's my nothing earbuds, my Galaxy Watch 4, my Sony XM4s, PS5, and my white Japanese GameCube controller.
Eventually, I'm gonna show my tech.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show my tech, because legit, like,
I'm for real. And then like my Surface Pros right here, and my Wacom drawing tablets here too, which for the otakus out there, I used to use this for OSU. I am retired now. I no longer am a high schooler.
What? Was it one of those that you just wanted to know how? And
I wanted to know how to do it, but I also bought it because I was playing OSU at the time. So now I'm past my prime. You know, 18 was my prime. Now as 20 years old, you know, the body just starts slowing down.
the mental capacity of
it. Yeah. Like, you start slowing down. You're like, I can't do the things I used to anymore.
No, it's gonna resurface, and you're like, wait a minute, I can do it. Give me a second. It's gonna be like that. That's how tech is, legit. You like
Yeah.
you burn out a little bit, and then you go back to it because you have all all the tech. I mean, we could say even retro tech. Like
Yep.
most people, are like, why would you play like a Nintendo 64? You know what? Just because now I can do it, I'm gonna go back to doing it. So like, I don't think it's a waste. It's more like it's dormant. If anything, it's just dormant. It's in the back of your mind.
Yeah, with that, Luis, I want to give you a bit more time because I apologize. I went on a tangent.
No,
but
no,
that's
no,
just
yeah.
like there's so much to talk about, really. But like, just to give you a bit more time to talk about things you're interested in, because I know one of them you mentioned was like smartphones and like also like how you were testing the latency of the controllers. Like, if
Yes.
you want to go into a bit more like or share something else regarding
Okay,
that,
doing something else.
yeah, something else as well.
Believe it or not, when it comes to like audio files, like I'm not, I don't consider myself like a big one, but like I can tell the difference when it comes to like audio, when it's like very bad audio, where it's like, ugh, I just hate it. I even tested out like Bluetooth with wire. Like I want to know what's better. Like maybe my capacity, my hearing capacity. I remember I had to take a hearing test
Yeah.
to even make sure that I legit was that committed. Like I asked my no I forgot the name of the doctor, but like I asked her like, hey, is everything clean there? Is like everything good? Like is my eardrum good? Like I gave her the question. She was like thinking like, are you concerned of your hearing pretty much? And I was like, no, I just want to know like I'm like playing good, I can hear without messing around, like in example, like in coffee, like you smell so much or you taste so much and you gotta like reset, you gotta wait and then reset to taste good coffee. There's a difference, right? Black with milk. I'm just throwing it out there, just saying there's differences in every single thing. When you smell perfume, you need to smell a coffee bean to reset. For me, I checked everything, make sure I was 0, so I can go and any headset I put on, I know it's my legit, like I'm good, the audio is from this headset. I tested like even where like I don't know, I can't cover it, but when I was trying to buy the AirPods, I was like, are they really worth it? And I was like, I was testing how far I can go, like how good they would sound. I think wire honestly to this day is a little bit still better. Not gonna say it's the best and final, but I think it is. If I had 2 options in anybody, I would say go with the wire first. For sure, even the nothing headphones, like earbuds, I mean, other friends had it and I tested them. I think they're still better than AirPods. It's just I have AirPods now. I kind of miss that I didn't buy them when they were pre-order. I wish I bought them because my other friends that have it, like I'm not why they're a little bit jealous. That's why when you went to church and you wear them, I was like, I know exactly what they are. I want a pair, and I don't think anybody knew what they were. I think they were just
no. They would just assume it's like AirPods or some type of earbuds. That's it. No one's gonna actually know unless you know the specific design. Then you'll know.
Yes. No. I'll give them nothing. Everything. Not nothing. I'll give the company nothing.
Yeah. Honestly, Luis, I'm just waiting for one day when MKBHD will say a fire quote where it says, "Nothing has everything."
Dude, and literally with the word nothing, that's insane. I would say that I always tested the limit of everything, with my family's bodies, with my body. I would, if I had more friends at the time, I would have definitely, or thicker friends. No, I didn't have no friends. A thicker friend, I would have been like, look, stand right here. Let me see if it works. When I got my own freaking, when PS3 came out, I wanted to know how far can I play. Like I could see really far, but I can't see if like a wire controller is gonna be better. Is it gonna give me more advantage over in Tekken? Then is it gonna give me compared to a wireless controller. I was so hesitant to get wireless controllers because I thought that's gonna make me lose. And so competitive person, yes, I did not want to lose. And yeah, funny you talking about, you know, your controller. I'm a competitive person because like if I can find latency like the least, I will freaking do it. I don't care because then it's just me again, my limit, fine. But I wanted to know, can I beat like my cousins? Can I beat them on this game in Tekken? I think it was Tekken 6. I forgot. I remember it's somewhere on there. But like I wanted to win. But since I had a console, I didn't want to lose. So I needed to find controller with wire or no, like because my dad was like, oh, it's wireless, blah blah blah, and we don't have to run over it. Fine, but like I need to win. So competitive person there. Another thing, I don't know if people do this. Refresh rates at Target, Best Buy. Let's see the difference and also what the TVs here, because I think people don't appreciate how much they have the TVs just out there, and you can just see the difference. Yes, they do change the colors to make it look brighter, beautiful, like whatever. Maybe some are not selling well, so like 1080 to 4K, you know, like, oh, we gotta improve the quality look here, even though some can't probably do 4K as they claim. They do that. I think the craziest would be testing thickness of latency through my family's body. Yeah. That would be the craziest, but the other craziest would be like, how far can I go until headphones go out, like wireless? Because I was so skeptical of wireless headphones. I thought Bluetooth wasn't gonna be the it, but then it was just me like thinking, oh, wire is always gonna be the best. But I still think it is from like stationary. But like when you go out and you're doing your own thing, like just as long as you can listen to the words, it's fine. But when you're at home and you want to take it in, like I have like a surround sound, like I like to hear every single little detail. But even then, soundbars, like I want to check every soundbar. Research, is it good? Is it easy to set up? All that. It's like curiosity again. But like, other crazy things. Oh, the craziest thing I've done for audio is like, was vinyl actually better than digital?
Oh,
I even thought of that. I was like, let me test that out. I legit, I'm looking at my vinyl record right now. Like, I did everything. I think vinyl is a little bit better, but like tiny little bit. Not super amazing, but it's the technology of the time too. Did my research of the times. Until
because a lot of it nowadays is like you're able to record high quality audio, but also like mixing has gotten so much better that it can practically replicate like a vinyl from like back then. Yeah, which honestly, regarding sound and audio, like I think half of it is mixing and then the other half of it is recording. Because like you can have like the greatest of recordings per audio source, but if you don't mix it and layer it properly, then it's gonna sound horrible. Same thing with like mixing. You can mix it very well, but if your recording is bad, then like what are you doing?
So you're hearing weird sounds. That's all you're hearing.
Yeah.
Like no, yeah, like what was one you brought up? I'll think of it again, but you literally said it. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah, now I remember it. So I don't know if you had this like ever in a like setting. So I went to public school. Hated public school, but it taught me certain things about myself, as in like the tech world. I remember there was like this like tech race of who had the better phone always. Who's rocking the newest iPhone? I think that's what iPhone like really did. And since my parents only like iPhones, because my parents I kind of teach them like what, like, oh, because if they had a Samsung phone, I'd be scared because they legit would get lost. Probably don't know how to make a call. They're not complicated, but like to a person that doesn't know tech at all or wants to know it, they'll be lost. So I had iPhone most of the time. Because also the brag of 1,000 songs in your pocket, that kind of got in my family. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing. No, It's really not. But good marketing on Apple. I'll give them that. Good marketing.
Yeah.
Got my dad and my mom to like, yeah, we must. But so every single year, Apple coming out with a new one, it got so annoying. Like my dad be like, you have to have the newest one. And then I stopped my dad and I'm like, let me see if this is even actually worth it. Like I actually question how good are they getting. Like it kind of opened my eyes to like Apple being just a monopoly of realizing, oh, we could, or not monopoly, taking advantage of people. Like, oh my gosh, you can charge them more for like a one thing that we can add on. It was so minuscule. I would say their cameras, point blank, really good. No change, but or a lot of change. Mm-hmm. But it just became thinner and camera. So that was it. And now they're going bigger and camera. I'm like, can you, like, when I was in high school, I was like, dude, I'm tired of upgrading. Because all the kids were like, oh my gosh, do you have the newest iPhone? I'm like, no, but do I care? No. And then when I got my Samsung phone, like, people, oh my gosh, they saw you as like the weirdo. Like, what are you doing with a Samsung phone? And HTC was my first one, or Android phone. Freaking amazing. Love the build. Wish it comes back. Hopefully they make it come back. I will keep an eye on that. Or let us know. Maybe they have, or we'll have, you know. But like I loved my HTC phone, but I got so harped on for that. Like, you are horrible. How dare you switch from the norm of iPhones? And yeah, I realized people really care just on popularity because iPhone got that really good. I give you that marketing of you know, Apple, but like, I'm sorry, but Android's a little bit better when it comes to just creativity. Just want to do whatever I want with my phone. It obviously sounds like you clocked your phone and kind of modified. Am I guilty? That's not illegal, okay? But
it's not.
Is it? Do you become like a developer? Yes, because that's what I felt like. I felt like when I started messing on like the screen brightness, like brighter than it's supposed to be, because I felt it was legal because like, hey, I bought for this phone what it's supposed to do, and they're not doing what I want them to do. So I'm gonna take it upon my hands to kind of fix what they left out.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did do that, Joseph, like of going through the files, use my computer wisely. Nobody knew in my family what I was doing. I was just like, they all thought I was legit, just like on iTunes putting music, but I was like, nope, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Because I was the only one with the HTC phone. After it was BlackBerry, iPhone, HTC phone, and then like, we need you to have it's an iPhone, so we understand this. I'm like, okay, because FaceTime, dude, FaceTime still with Android. I know they're trying to work with that, but no, it's not Apple. It's not yet. They do the red. They do the what? Are they still in the war with the green and blue?
Yeah,
thing?
that's still a thing.
That's just so dumb.
I mean, literally, I have the option on Google Messages to change the text, the bubble color for text, like per individual. So I'm just like, why can't you do that? But of course, Apple wants to do that to have the leverage of like, this is why iMessage is so good on iPhones. And if you have the Android, like, or you're texting with Android, it makes your experience worse. So like, they are leveraging off of that. But I'm just like, why not just give me the option? Give the consumer the option to just change the bubble color. That's it.
That's just so dumb.
And mind you, like, for the longest time, iPhone has always made the experience between texting with Android and just group chats in general horrible, because they were just stuck on SMS for the longest amount of time. Ever since like 2015, we've had RCS slowly roll out for Android. And then even it's only as of recently this year that RCS was like rolled out for, and quote, well, asterisk with RCS with iPhones, because there's still some features missing because, again, Apple being Apple, they want to limit certain things. It's only as of recently this year that Apple rolled out RCS for between iPhone and Android, where finally, like, you have read receipts, you have typing indicators, you have higher file size limits for videos and photos. Because especially when you send a photo, or not a photo, a video
Oh
to between an iPhone and an Android. The file size limit for SMS is 1.2 megabytes. What type of video are you trying to send that will be within that file size limit? It's always going to exceed that. So whenever an iPhone
so unrealistic.
and an Android, it's like when it's sent to each other, it looks like some 480p blurry pixelated garbage that like, what on earth is this? Same thing with the photos. Same thing with the photos. I think the file size limit back then was like 10. And if you had Android, a lot of the Android phones shot like in beyond 12 megapixel because they have 48 MP lenses at that time. And it's only as of recently, again, iPhone has that now. So like, again, if you send a photo that's with beyond 12 megapixels, it gets blurry, it gets butchered. You make it makes it look like your phone is worse. So I mean,
get better Android. Come on.
So many things to do with Apple and iPhone. I mean,
honestly, I feel Android is more open to like changes right away than Apple.
This is how I like envision, or this is how I like associate like Apple and Android, right? Where like Apple is like this really nice ecosystem. It's a walled off garden. It is this beautiful garden that like, man, it gives you it's so beautiful, it's so premium. This ecosystem is like, wow, really premium, but you're walled off. Once you're in, you're locked. You can't really get out. Actually, it's practically impossible to get out, because like,
and if you get out, you lose everything.
Yeah, and if you get out, you actually lose everything. That's why it's a walled off ecosystem. And then with Android, it's like I think of it as like an open sandbox, that where you see like, basically it's like seeing the city, and then you see the city and like Oakland, or like the bad side, like the homeless side, like San Francisco, and then you see the Tenderloin. Like you see both the good and the bad, but like you have the freedom to like navigate through those, right? Whereas Apple, it's just like, here's the nice side, and you're going to stay in the nice side. So that's why I associate with Apple, like it's a walled off garden ecosystem, and then Android is an open sandbox ecosystem where like you have the freedom, but it's also like you kind of have to be able to kind of put one and two together, because it's not as guided as iPhone for sure, but like you have the freedom to experiment and do whatever you want. So I mean, both work in their own ways, but like for me, I'm more of the person of like, if you give me a product, I want to be able to do things the way I want to as well. Don't limit me to like what I can't do, and like just say, you have this iPad, well, guess what, now as of recently you have a calculator app.
My gosh,
very happy.
No,
like, dude, that's the dumbest thing. Why would you not have a calculator app for the longest time?
For the longest time, I get maybe like an update, but like, why do you have to Applefy it? What's so Applefying a calculator? Like, what? It's Applefy Air. Then it's really dumb. No. Yeah, and they legit. I forgot who was it. KBHD, I believe, maybe. Was it they had to I forget the names of the designers. He was a lead designer, and he had to ask him, so what about a calculator app? And it's like, how? Yeah, why does question happening here?
Yeah, the answer was so interesting too. It's like, well, we want to consider what the consumers want, and we also want to make sure the product is rolled out in a very pristine quality way, and also that it would be integrated really well. And I'm like, it's just a calculator app, bro. Just put it out. What needs to be so premium about a calculator app?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's like, I don't even think anybody that opens the calculator app legit like takes a second to appreciate, let's quote unquote appreciate what the design. They just want to know what 20 plus 10 is, and then boom, okay, got the answer. Bye.
Because like the coolest thing about it, like I will give credit to the calculator app for the iPad. Like, the cool thing about it is you can like handwrite and like even take handwritten notes and just have the calculator do it. But even then, I'm like, why did it take so long to just? If you wanted this as a feature, why like gatekeep it for so long? Yeah, I don't think it takes like almost 10 years to not have it on the iPad, and now you put it on the iPad. Like, why?
I would say no, yeah, like you just said, like instead don't gatekeep it, just update it as it goes. You're like, this is actually, honestly, that would have been even better, because you know how people on iPhone be like, oh my gosh, a new update. It's like, well, it's crazy. Like this is now we can do this. You know, you could have done that instead of, yeah, 10 years you'll never have it and you always question about it. And then when you get it, you'll be like, oh, cool, finally got it. Instead of, oh my gosh, new features. Because it never felt like, dude, like, no lie, it was so frustrating, like in school, to go from the iPad, because I had to use it for art, from iPad, and then like I needed a calculator just to like get the actual calculations of my draw, like, because they would use like actual math in the teacher like math in the actual art. So I was like, it was frustrating because I normal math, and I'll say this, is not my specialty. Physics math, I like that. It's much better. It's more tedious, but it's better. Kind of weird saying math in one, but math in the other doesn't work. But yeah. It's different. They're different. It was frustrating because like you're right there. Why do you have to like go around? It's like taking out the time, the clock, or the time, you know, that it says on the top, and then having to look at your phone to what's the time. It's like that's how big it is. Like a calculator is like, it's necessary, but it's not to be complicated. Like honestly, I don't even need to write on it. Honestly, like please tell me who actually like let me draw something, draw some numbers, and then figure out for me. If not, I'll ask Siri before I draw it. Okay, I'll ask Siri to do the math for me.
What can I say? It's Apple.
Man,
It's Apple.
I forgot. That was such a dumb question when it came up, and yeah, they had to amplify it of like how complicated, you know, give complicated words to sound smart, but it's like not the answer.
I remember like a couple years ago too, like when Apple has their annual like WWDC conference. I think that's what it's called, WWDC.
Yeah, WWDC. Yeah.
But one of the features for like iPhones was that now you can have picture-in-picture when you're watching like YouTube or streaming content, and I was just like, so you're releasing a feature that we as Android users have had for like almost 10 years at this point.
Yep.
Well, this is supposed to be revolutionary and new. What? Why now? Well, like, I just felt bad for everyone who had iPhone and could just never do picture-in-picture. I'm like, look, bro.
If anything, I look at features that because one thing about me, I keep up with Android. Like I actually do. Like I want to know what's the newest in tech. Because if you're gonna be one that likes only Apple tech, then you're not a tech person. You're just an Apple fanboy. I'm sorry. But it goes with Android. If you like only Android, then you're not a tech person. You can't. It's like saying a gamer but only plays one game. You're not a gamer, dude. You just like that game. So like for tech, you have to be well-rounded in tech. Even if you might never get a tech, that's completely fine. Like that's normal. You know, not everybody can afford everything. And I look. It's so funny, and I know other tech reviewers look at it where, what is there that Apple's already copying? Like what are they copying? They're not the leaders anymore. Like I'm gonna be honest, they're not leading no revolutionary like tech. They're just, what is it that we can amplify now? And so I look at it, I just wait because I mean, you know, it's cool. Let's see what's the newest iPhone and what do they have. And come to find, it's most likely they're just following, you know, Android and amplifying it. It's so sad where Apple's at right now. Yes, dude. Does everything Android do? Is it perfect? No, yeah, they fail sometimes. It's completely fine.
Oh yeah, there's so many times we fail too. Like folding phones. Like how many times we've had different concept phones that just actually never came out. So like, I guess
the concept is good to have a concept because you can work with it or it can fail, it can flop. Okay, let's be honest. Look at Nintendo. They keep trying and trying and trying. The Wii U, was it great? No, but what we got out of it, the Switch. So like, you need to flop to sometimes get that jewel, you know. And like, it's kind of like intrusive thoughts. You never know, they might work, they might not.
I mean, like the first Samsung Fold, literally the most like fragile product I have ever seen to be released at such a premium price. But
$1,000.
Once I started the moment I started to see it become like a reliable like daily use for a consumer was the third iteration, and then I was convinced enough to go with the fourth iteration, and now we're like in the sixth iteration of it, and it's like, yeah, you needed the first one to really flop. Like, yeah, you got a lot of attention too, because it was really breaking and it was bad. But yeah, that's what tech. It has to sometimes fail, and that's how tech evolves. It's iteration upon iteration. Same thing with AI. It's just going to improve over time.
With AI, man, Apple Intelligence. No, don't worry. Apple will refine it. It will make it better. We'll make it best. Elon,
we're gonna have artificial intelligence. We're calling it Apple Intelligence. It's so dumb, dude. Like, what? You basically just took AI and just replaced the A. Why? Just call it artificial intelligence.
I'm sorry, but like, Apple, you gotta backtrack that. It's such a bad name for it. Stop. Stop.
Who on earth is going to like, oh yeah, that's like really smart name. Like, no, you just replace artificial with Apple. We know it's AI. God. Just like call it for what it is. Stop trying to amplify it.
I'm not trying to butcher Apple, because maybe Apple has. I mean, look, they innovated. They brought the mouse, okay, from IBM, even though IBM did it. So no, that's Apple finance still, but still, like, please, think of what you're doing right now, because it's not. Elon's not scared of Apple Intelligence. If anything, he's making fun of it with their ChatGPT. Let's be honest. But like, Apple's not innovating, guys. They're more copying right now. Let's be honest. That's where they are. And I'm not, again, outliers. You never know. They might throw something big. Please don't take another like port or something. Please just don't do that. Like, we don't need more ports taken out. But like, you never know. They could innovate. They could. They could take all this down out here. Like, no more ports. No more speakers. Forget it. You don't even need it. But like, oh man, they could do something. I'm just hopeful, and especially if coming from a family of only iPhones. Like, please, just change something that's better, please.
Oh gosh.
But is it bad to venture into tech, like trying something out? Because I think right now, as phones, I believe they're the only ones with like to get into the quantum fixes kind of realm, kind of like as in super intelligence. I believe so. Because I know I like taking the step into it. I don't believe any other company is doing it like crazy. I think there's announcements of it, but they haven't like final product it. So fine, Apple's, you can say, the heading lead of it. I would just, if I'm any company, I would like, let's see what they fail at, what they're good at, and what they're copying. Because I hope they don't copy Apple, because I know they do that. They copy Apple every single step of the way, which is so annoying. Because let's be honest, rip to some of the ports, some of the innovations that we liked. Freaking what's it called? The finger scanner, like. Some companies still have it, but I know they're phasing them out. Like, dang, that's maybe, Joseph, we want to talk maybe about that in the future, like some things you missed that you used, but please in the comments too, leave what you miss about what Apple have taken away from you guys.
I mean, look, go ahead, Luis.
No, I was gonna say Apple Pay. Does that count? Like, Apple Pay, they kind of did that.
I guess.
Any other? Yeah. So good. So, see, Apple does some good things sometimes. So, yeah.
I will say, regarding like things I miss, I really do miss headphone jacks in phones. I really do miss headphone jacks. Like, yes, I know the consumers we're going towards like wireless now, but like still, there's just something nostalgic about seeing a headphone jack on a phone. That's just probably me though, but like, I remember like back then, like even a couple years ago, like, oh, this phone has a headphone jack. Like, that was like still like a head turner. Like, oh, you still have a headphone jack? It's pretty cool.
Like, honestly, the headphone jack is so handy, like in so many things. Like when I even see it, I get like nostalgia. I know I'm an unk, okay? I'm 27, but like I'm calling him. I'm saying it, but like it's still useful. Like it legit is. I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna be in a world where everything's Bluetooth. I'm even calling this for like speakers. I'm like any actual DJ setups. I don't think we're gonna be Bluetooth ever. Like fully Bluetooth, only Bluetooth. Again, it has its limits. It really, really does. For like, even do you even think in the church? Do you really think you're gonna just go all Bluetooth? Do you ever believe that?
Because like honestly, it's the way I like associate it with too is like even if you limit it to like just wireless audio to wired audio, right? Like the wireless audio is best going to benefit the consumer because you're looking for comfortability, accessibility, and just how it overall functions in day-to-day life. But if you're talking, but that's just like when you're listening to products that are already made for you, right? You're not producing anything, you're consuming, hence the term consumer. Yeah. If you are a producer, then wired audio is the way to go because you are literally producing. You're in production, studio production, mastering. The highest quality. If you want the highest quality possible, you're gonna get the best results with wired, like just wired everything. And so that's why you see a lot of people in the studio, like especially like record labels, it's pretty much everything wired. Bunch of cables, even the mixers, they're all wired. I don't think you're gonna have any type of wireless connection to a mixer. I mean, it is possible, but I don't think it's gonna be great.
I don't think it's
but the point being, right, like wireless audio I associate with consumers because they don't know any better, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just because you just want it to work. We're all simplicity works best for humans. Push button work, 1 2 3 easy to go. But if you're like wanting to have wired audio as a producer, that's the way to go because that's where all the nitty-gritty details are. And basically you get simplified too, Luis, to like Apple and Android. If you want things really simple, you go with Apple. If you want things like, if you like the complex nitty-gritty things, then you go with Android. So basically it's a consumer producer like scenario. Like just which do you prefer?
Was it Apple's Stay Hungry?
I think something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But then legit, they just give you nothing to bite on. They're like, this is it, and you cannot ever question more of this.
Yep.
Right? That's like what? I'm full the whole time because I can't switch or do anything. That's like the opposite of what I legit like. Why are you guys saying that quote? But you guys yet don't offer any difference at all at any point. Because like with Android for me, and this comes with every update, and comes with different phones too. You're not getting in the same thing on the same phone. Like like the flips don't get the same as maybe a flat phone, depending on any company, and the flat ones don't get everything the same. Depends on the brand you get too. So I say that Stay Hungry should be legit for Android because you can never consume enough. There's always something, and like this comes like, oh, why is this person on on that YouTube video getting that kind of setup? Oh, I just need to go and look at that. Like, what do I do for that? Like, if I look at my iPhone, all I can say like, oh, just update to the newest iPhone, or iOS, and I'm like, that's it. We'll get the same thing. We'll have the same thing. It's like what? Like, but I guess. And you asked this question: what would convert a person that's on to Android to iPhone? I don't think it's possible. I think the only way you convert somebody is break their phone, buy them an iPhone, make them feel guilty about it. Like, hey, I paid $1,000 for this phone, keep it.
Basically, I see it as you have to be forced to convert.
Yeah,
and that's why.
I legit.
That's
just
why
stopped and thought about that.
The iPhone. Oh my gosh, my camera's auto tracking me again. My bad. But the iPhone, Apple again, is you can view it as the Catholic Orthodox Church, right? And so you needed the Protestant Reformation happen, and that's where the Androids come in. where we realized the errors and doctrines of certain doctrines in the Catholic Church, and so here we are to protest and branch off, and we're gonna become, we have the better, we're just better, and so. Androids are like, yeah, not only that, we have different branches within the umbrella of Protestantism. And so
Oh goodness.
that's why you have different manufacturers of Android. Think about it.
There you go, guys.
That
There you
is
go.
why-
This is
That's why
the Salab podcast. This is the Salab podcast coming in that will convert you guys, and just letting you know there'll be a link for that, please, Joseph, because for 30 minutes they go on to also explaining about phones. I will say that a little bit of tech, just 30 minutes, and if you're fully converted, go for it. But no, yeah, like it truly is like that. It's honestly the only way is if iPhone starts or Apple starts buying like phone manufacturers and then just like kills them. Like, nope, yeah, let's buy all like Samsung. I don't know how they would do it, but if they do, cancel everything, guys. Cancel. Destroy this company. That's the only way Apple could do it, by force.
Yeah.
It has to be by force. That's when you said that question, I was like, no, it would have to be by force. Like, there's no way that somebody be like, oh yeah, my personal customized beautiful phone. Oh no, just delete everything. Just forget it. Like, no, like, why would I do that? Like, I think my HTC until they stopped actually updating it when updates really mattered for me, I guess I would say. Like, I kept it for like a 4 years, and now in my mindset as an adult coming to it, it's like, no, I'm gonna look at it as an actual tool instead of like, oh, what's the latest update? Because I know people will say like, oh well, iPhone gets 7 years guaranteed updates. So are you telling me?
I hate that justification. Software updates are gonna make the phone better. Like,
Yeah.
to a degree, yes, but it's actually just to slow down the deterioration of your phone.
No,
That's really what the
let me
software
give you
updates are
7
for.
megabyte, no, 1 megabyte updates, and it'll be the same. Don't worry. I never said how big the gigabytes will be. I just said there'll be updates. So 1 megabyte instead of 7 of them, and see, I justified it. It's such a dumb idea, and I know, but I have to bring it up because that like when when iPhones were being released, and then the Apple made that promise, that was like a head wave of things, and I saw through it. I'm like, that's a stupid thing. Like, why? It's like, if I buy a hammer, am I gonna get 7 updates of the latest hammer editions? And like,
There's an OTA
hammer?
update on the way. Like, it's like taking like 2 business days right now because of the latency and the Bluetooth connectivity right now. It's taking forever.
No, you're right. They if anything, yes, people say it debunked it of making it worse, but I believe that it still deteriorates it. It still will, like it's a common practice to do that, to be fair, to destroy the actual product to let the other product be good. Why would they keep an old product living forever? Like, that would break their sales, their rock bottom sales.
It's so interesting that they would be so fond of the software updates, like the OTA updates, right? And you have to realize that you buy the phone for what it can do now, not for the promise, not for the future promises it will get. It's not supposed to be like, oh, I'm gonna spend over $1,000 on a phone that will eventually do this. Like, no, why are you doing that? You're supposed to buy the phone for what it can do now. It's like literally saying, like, if you go to a car dealership and you cash out on a car, are you going to say you're spending money on a car that for a feature that will eventually come, and it's not even guaranteed until it actually releases? Or are you buying the car? Oh my gosh!
Guarantees me 10 years of updates.
Oh my gosh! But like, that's my point, right? Like, if you're going to you buy a car for what it can do, what it can perform now, like what it can deliver to you already, not for something that is quote unquote promised and you don't even know if it will be released. Because we've seen so many like things that manufacturers and developers would announce, like, oh, this is in their like itinerary plan for like the next 2 years, and we promise you to give you this updates, and like sometimes it never happens.
Right.
Like, oh, so I guess in a way you were not lied to, but it's just more of like it didn't work out. And that's my point. You're not supposed to be buying a product in general for something that will eventually come. Like you don't go buy cutlery or kitchenware and like say, oh, this knife is gonna get sharper over time. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy it because like it's gonna give me 2 knives if I just buy for 1 later. Like, no, you're buying for what it will offer you at the moment, like right now.
Always at the moment.
So that should be the reason why you buy a phone. It's not because of the software updates. Like, sure, they can enhance it a little bit and over time help prolong the life of your phone maybe, but it's not supposed to be like the primary thing of why your phone is better. The software updates are minimal, if anything.
Fair. Like, are you promising me that in 7 years I'll still be able to make calls? Because like that, if you had to like get there, imagine that. It's like, we promise you'll still be able to make like calls 7 years. Like, but if we update it, we'll have to take that away. It's like,
no, but after 7 years, you no more phone calls. Just immediately, no more phone calls.
No, Tesla goes like, we'll guarantee that the battery will last, but then we'll have to cut it out, like just completely shut it out, or a paywall it, like no. If you want 100 more miles, 100 more miles, you gotta give us $1,000 just for this one moment, or subscription, daily subscription instead. Imagine that, like it's like that's the mentality, and people are like, that's completely fine. Instead of just, okay, my car gets me from point A to point B, and we'll always do this. Boom, my phone will always call the moment I put in the number. I'll call. Why are we using updates as a form of like, yes, see, we're guaranteeing you even more than you're buying? It's like, what? Like what? That's not what people used to like make Android like look so bad. I'm like, no, like Android's not bad. Like then why did we used to buy like video games, movies? It comes in one package, comes one way, and you never change. Why is that being looked at as like, man, if I get Disney Plus, it won't give me the same movies like from like a few. It's like,
it's basically buying a video game and then like eventually you find out, oh, there's gonna be DLC, or like they announced there will be DLC, but you're not buying it for the DLC. You're buying it for the game first, and then you're like, oh, the DLC will come later. Like, you're not buying it like, oh, because again, they could announce a DLC and it never happens. Then you're like, so I wasted my money. So like, why would you have that reasoning to buy a game that will, for the reason that it will have content that may or may not be coming later? Like, you don't know that.
And I'm just saying to people that buy video games and go like, oh, they'll update it down the line. Why are you buying a game for the promise? They're not there. It's a promise, is not law abiding, because they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Why are you by the promise that they're gonna update it? That's your justification to get it. So you're admitting to saying, yes, I know it's broken, I know it's not done, but by the promise I will buy a $70 game. Like that's just crazy to me. That's why it's like, I don't rely on promises. Like when it comes to companies, like, okay, the product's good, it looks good.
Yeah.
If later on they add something, great, that's a bonus. Like, it's awesome. But what can the product do at the moment? I will buy that, because obviously if you buy it and it doesn't do what it's claimed to do, false advertisement, that's legally like, you can go, they can go to jail for that, or they can get sued for that. Yeah. But I would say as a consumer, let's be wise and really look at what it's offering first before we go by what they're promising. Because a promise is not, again, they don't have to do it. They can go bankrupt. And then boom, they what are you gonna do? Sue them? Like, no, they can't. Mm-hmm. So that's I guess that's another way me and Joseph see like how when we buy things, before we buy things, research, and not promises, but what it actually does.
Yeah. Like literally, you're gonna buy. Like, why would you buy a car if it won't let you drive? Like, what? Why? Like, who on earth would buy a car that won't let you drive? No, you're not buying it for eventually it'll let you drive. Like, no, you buy it because it can drive
later. What do you mean? You have to subscribe to their OF page to get the...
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Nah, but honestly, Luis, one thing... This happened earlier this week. going back
Oh.
to controllers.
Oh,
There was this
okay.
one individual that texted both of us individually too.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna say that person used their brain power. I'm just saying. Can't believe it. We didn't even charge that person for this information.
I know. Honestly,
Learn
you know, that's the free trial. Next time there has to be the plan. Like, okay,
We're
choose
calling
the 1 month, the 6 months, or the
nothing.
1
We're gonna
month.
call her out right now.
Yeah. So basically, this person texted the both of us individually, and she was asking, and for context, she has a Wii, the console, like the Wii, Nintendo Wii, and she does not have. Oh, she used to have a sensor bar for the Wii remote, but then her dog chewed on it and it got broken, basically.
Yeah.
So earlier this week, she texted asking the question of, is it true that 2 like candle lights will replace the Wii sensor bar? And
I think it's
Luis, you want to go? You want to go first?
Makes the TikTok, bro. I'm just telling you now.
You want to go first and explain or sharing your side and like your thought process on it?
Oh, my side. Okay, so I legit. So I was already busy, but I was thinking like I was multitasking at that point. So, but I wanted to know your side after I explained my side. But I was like I was doing multiple things. So I forgot that heat is IR. It's in the spectrum of IR, radiation for anybody. So like right now we're getting radiation. Even a banana gives you radiation because it's heated, it's concealed, so it makes heat. So fun fact, right? But I was thinking candles, it even depends on the candle, to be fair. And I was like, okay, candle, I'm assuming it's going to be a natural normal candle. It's going to be put on, but then I'm like, you're going to be moving, so air resistance. So you're going to be, waving around, not just gently like that. I'm saying like this, like, because that's what we do. And I was like, no, it's going to produce heat wave. Heat wave does not, like, it's going to be with air resistance, going to produce like an actual movement. It'll lose track. And the moment you're trying to like actually use it, it'll lose track of you, where you are, or the IR, because also the controller's doing the IR blaster and receiving IR heat blast. So I was like, okay, so it's going to lose track right away. The moment we do one swipe, air resistance is going to be like, sorry, but we lost control of you. And so I said, no, it's going to be a heat wave, just a heat wave. And I just said heat wave. And it's not going to track because heat is different from IR.
Yeah.
My brain didn't register that in the moment. But I said, it won't work, pretty much. And I was like, okay, you text this to Joseph, but let me know what Joseph says in the moment. And then I went back to what I was already doing.
Yeah.
And then that's what's mine. I just thought process heat does not produce IR. So the IR blaster is going to be able to read what the Wii is trying to get, which is another IR reading. So that's my part.
Yeah. So my side is, because she texted the question and then I called her because I thought she was trolling. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way. And then I called her and we were on call for like 10 minutes and I was like, in theory, I personally tried it and it has worked. But of course, like I also told her, it really depends on your setting and your lighting, of course, because there's so many environmental factors that will go into it as well. So I told her like, yes, it can work, but you have to also take it with a grain of salt that like, because they are candles, you have to be very, tracking. You have to take it with like, it's probably not going to be super accurate every now and then. And you also have to factor in that like, how far you are and like within that range of like, for the sensor to read the Wii remote, you need to be able to like, you have to stay locked at wherever you are. Like you have to stay with it because like, even a slight movement might mess up where the Wii remote, you want the Wii remote to point to, right? But I told her that
it could theoretically work.
Basically the sensor bar, it really just, I gave her a little breakdown of it, but I told her that the sensor bar, it just consists of 2 infrared LEDs and the actual sensor is not actually in the sensor bar. It is actually in the Wii Remote, and the Wii Remote has a infrared camera. That's actually the sensor. So in a way, I just explained to her, I kind of still don't understand why they call it a sensor bar, but I guess for the consumer, just make it easier and simplify. Right? So I was like, that's fine. But I just told her that like the actual sensor is in the Wii Remote, and from there, the Wii Remote just sees the two infrared LEDs as two dots, right? And basically, once the camera from the Wii Remote, which is why you have that black thing at the top, or depending on how you hold it, there's that black portion on the top. That's the camera reading, looking for those two LEDs on the sensor bar. It from there can quickly determine like which way you point the Wii Remote, and like even if you twist it like upside down, it'll still tell you like properly. It'll still properly like be able to navigate like based on how the orientation is. And the reason why it's still precise even upside down is because, and I believe it's still true, that they have a gyroscope in the Wii Remote, which honestly makes a lot of logical sense, because like it does. Upside down, the orientation still
it does, because I'm just saying, Joseph, I know it does because not Mario Odyssey, and Galaxy. Galaxy. You have to put it like sideways, so you tilt in some levels, and then that's where I looked it up. Yeah, so it does have gyroscope. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking also, I can't pinpoint if it was the original Wii Remote or the Wii Remote Plus, because I know there's like another iteration of the Wii. Yeah. But I know either one of them. I would not be surprised if it was the later model, because it's the later model. But I remember hearing the Wii Remotes had accelerometers as well, and I think that made them more precise than the old ones. Or maybe I have it reversed, who knows. But the point being is that like that helps the calibration of like the orientation of the Wii Remote, because like you can be like so far, like let's say you could be at a 45-degree angle, and like here's the TV and the Wii and the sensor bar, or candles in this case. And then you're like at a 45-degree angle, you're like at the kitchen or something, right? It can still tell you where you're pointing properly because of that accelerometer and the gyroscope, just as long as the camera can see those two infrared LEDs, as long as you can see it properly.
Well, if you look at the sensor bar, it's kind of weird, for that name. But it's two, but it's a complete 180, so the bar can detect a 180 of where you're at. So of course, if you're behind it, you're not gonna be able to do nothing. But a candle's 360, yes, but once it moves enough or thins enough, because if you move, like you can make it almost like turn off, like or go off. Yeah, that won't work. And then the actual reader, which is on the controller, will lose track of it like instantly, and then it has to calibrate again and look again. Where's the light? When the light comes back, it'll lose it. So, and this is the thing also, the heat will be always emitting IR, but it's different with the blaster, or the actual bar is blasting it directly more. So you're getting more radiation, and this is not for people that are like, oh my gosh, radiation's bad. You're literally getting a lot of radiation every day. The sun,
literally right now, we're getting radiation from our LED lights right now. So like,
there's freaking things given to me. Actually, that was a question. I don't know if you guys were talking about it. Would bulbs do it? I know the most accurate bulb that would do it is the ones that dim, like actually go higher. Those are actually more accurate than just a normal light bulb. But a normal light bulb would work. And so that would even be better than candles, if anything. If you have the setup, just a flat surface and put two light bulbs like perfectly like that. But that would be better than the sensor bar or candles. I mean, the sensor bar is always better because it actually gets a complete 180. You're not going to be playing behind it. That's kind of weird. But candles would work
because I think the dimmer LED bulbs is the incandescent, or am I wrong? Because the LEDs are the traditional like bright ones, and then I was just thinking, you mentioned dimmer, I'm thinking incandescent immediately.
But
continue.
I don't know. No. I would say I made a joke. I'm like, you know what? At this point, if you're trolling, just use your car lights. Go for that. How about that? Go put it outside. Go outside, because I was thinking of trolling, but because I was focusing on, again, multitasking, but I always want to be kind to everybody and not ignore people. But I was just like, just think of that. How about that? Use that, because I thought it was the point. It was a troll, but honestly, I was more like my nerd friend. I want to know his perspective. I want to know that. And so when I read your part, I had to pause. Like I was on a call, so I was like, you know what? Let me just actually read what he's saying so I can actually understand. Because I was curious on your side, but it's like yes, it's possible, but it's like, why would you do that at that point if you even if you don't have the light bar or the freaking bar, don't even play it. It's not even worth it. You look up videos of it. Look up videos of it. People are so slow. They're like aiming so lightly. It's just because it's a video. They want to make it look. It works. Tell them, make a swipe. We'll lose instantly communication to the candles. Like no, you can't play no game. Or how about do Mario Kart sideways? The moment you're playing with the bar sideways, you're covering the reader. You're not gonna do it, because I know for the technology, there's also the bar has communication. Even when you block it, it'll still emit enough heat for you to enough for the reader. Yeah, it'll
oh, that way that's why that's where the accelerometer comes in, because even if it's sideways, because the infrared is right here, but it's like facing away. So okay, that's where the I remember.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because when I paused when I was out of the call and I'm like thinking about it, I was like, wait, the infrared still is there. I was like, wait, because I felt so dumb, because I'm like, this is thermodynamics that like literally teaches you radiation and what radiation is. Not dangerous. We're still getting it. We literally get it as we sleep. And like the Wii literally works on that, and I know that. It bugged me so much. And then you freaking said, I guess we will talk about it. But I'm like, okay. This person started not beef, but like a good actual segment to this. But I didn't know that you went through that like legitimately with that. I thought it was a troll this whole time.
I thought it was a troll too, but I actually did try it before, like years ago, and I do have a funny story of doing something else with it too. But I just want to say to this person, you know who you are. You gotta report to us. You gotta report to us how it went, and also I may or may not be advocating, and maybe Luis is advocating for you to use candles too, so that we can commit arson. Not that I endorse arson.
I was going to say, this person, I don't know if I can trust you with the candles. Maybe ask an ate to assist me there with some water to throw in the destroyer Wii pretty much. Because and for people that don't know, older sister, like just be ready to throw it, because
we love I love setting the candles at home, because like there's a chance you could burn the whole house down.
Yeah. You don't want to say we did it, okay? You don't want to say we did it.
We did not.
But yeah, I tried it. I tried it. I'll tell you this is a funny story. This is a funny story. I should have remembered this, and that's why I know the fluorescent light bulbs work, because my dad's a construction worker, and he has a bunch of random stuff all the time. And so I was like, okay, this is when I learned thermodynamics. There's a lot of stories with that, believe it or not. But like I tried it with I had the bar, I had the the sensor, but I didn't want to, and I wanted to see what dimming sense, like where in the dimming does it work. And so since my dad had it, I got fluorescent light bulbs. I set it up how he did, and he was the one like, oh, let's see, because he knew I knew, but he wanted to see it. So he set it up. It has to be like low level, like almost like you can't see it, because IR, you can't see it technically. You can see only red. We technically right now. Oh, wait, did I pause it? Can you hear me?
You're good. Yeah, good.
Okay, make sure I didn't pause it. But if you go like low level to the almost where it doesn't hurt your eyes, because super bright, and then you can go like super almost where it's yellow. That's where it works the best, and it'll track you. That like legit will track you, unless you go like cover and it's like that, it won't track you. The gyroscope won't actually work.
So basically, what we're recommending is you get a 1 nit warm yellow, warm white light incandescent bulb that you can maybe find, and we're not sponsored any either by Best Buy, Home Depot, any
Those-
hardware store. True. We're
looks
just recommending.
fleece.
But yeah, go
That's
to your
what-
local hardware store and look for the one knit warm white light incandescent
Say
bulb.
knit, please.
Knits.
Don't pause the knits.
Not even knits.
legit,
No,
they
you just
work.
get the singular knit. Any higher than
No,
that
no.
is worse.
No, but legit, they do work. They do work. They do work. Yeah. I if I had a photo of, I'll send it to you, Joseph. Like legit, how the setup it was, it works. But if you go higher then yeah, pretty much one knit, you're gonna legit mess it up. The IR blaster,
Yeah,
or the IR
I
receiver
would not
won't.
be surprised if it did.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
That's just
But
how
people with the
how it
candle,
works.
it's so dumb, dude. It's just so dumb. Please don't commit.
I mean,
arson
it
in your
does
home.
work technically speaking, and on paper, yes,
It
does.
works.
But of course, like you need to factor in like actually real gameplay. Like with every game, will it work? Your mileage will vary, basically.
We bullying legitimately. The moment you look down, you point it down, it won't read it. Like that. It's the technology. The gyroscope is reading it at the same time. It's gonna, it takes over, and then it sends the actual information when it actually connects back, and like, oh, this is what it did. But like, if I have my setup with my dad, I'm gonna legit do that one knit, and I'm like, look, see, it works. I know people have done it, but they go like very slow and point it directly at it, and
Yeah.
no. If anything, you know what? To that person we know from this very country called Vietnam. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, kidding. From church, legit, just spend like $10 at a thrift store for that.
Or
Bar.
also, we're going to help you convert to Android.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
because
oh, yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
this person, she keeps fidgeting with my phone, and she always keeps asking like, "Oh, what's like about the fold and stuff?" And I was like,
Bro,
Yeah, I
I
can
know
do this and
everything
do
of
that.
that all back and forth, bro.
Yeah.
I legit that day. I think I still to this day believe maybe judges, our a friend from Salah knows about it, but like I don't even think he knows all of it. Moment I just wanted to see it because like, oh, I never got to see it in person, but I see it on videos. I see the software.
Yeah.
It's so freaking simple. Like once you get to Android, judges would know, like the aspect of it, like the software part. There is actual nice things about it itself, hardware wise, that maybe not people like, oh, this was here the whole time.
Yeah.
Kind of moment, when you like don't realize we have it for years. The whole one thing, you're like, I didn't know I could do this. I know all about that. Like I just was more like, oh, what kind of case did you put on it? That was the only one, I guess, one thing that was unique about it. But I don't think everybody at the church. Not saying people were not smart at church. I'm just saying the research.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Heard it here
come
first.
on.
Heard it here first.
No. I'm just saying, do enough research, and you'll know that phone is really good. It's really expensive. I'll tell you that. Don't fall into the. I would say like, if you're going to Android, don't go on the flip phone side yet. Do your research before you go into it, because if you've never been in Android, you're just.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, that's a whole new learning curve, and you're probably not gonna like Android because of it. Because you're like, oh man, like I don't know this. Like, what the heck? What's this?
Yeah.
But yeah, come on, you really have to do the IR blaster, man.
Dude,
that got me.
this person, yeah. Give us your report
I'm
on
just
it.
saying, you really got me mad to that person. You got me mad because I can't believe I didn't go back to my old me a little bit. You caught me at the worst time too. I was on a other call.
Gosh.
Like
Yeah.
thermodynamics, forgot it. Too bad.
But yeah.
It's like why I studied this and then I forgot about it. It's like, come on.
But yeah, this
But-
person, you know who you are. You're gonna give us a 2-page double-spaced 10 point font report on what happened,
on.
and then also I'm going to help you convert to Android, and then Luis is going to help you realize the errors of your ways of using an iPhone, because we're going to help you transition from the Catholic Orthodox Church to the Protestant Church.
You know what I feel? You're gonna get schooled, and somehow I don't know, Joseph. I don't know how much you know, because where she works at, you have to know a lot about coffee. Like, I'm telling you, a lot. And she's gonna school you on something in your future endeavors. I feel like
Hey,
it will
I'm not.
happen.
I look forward to it, because like honestly, I've been for a long, and pretty sure you yourself, Luis, like we've just been like the, not to be a smart aleck, but like we're just like like intellectual and like just nerd out all about these things that like it's really rare to come across like someone else who knows it as much as we do. And like that's literally us, like literally for the longest time we've Alphabet, right, with Google. No one really knows that, like, but for the longest time, right, like for example, we've known each other for like what, since 23, since last year, right? But like we probably 20, late 22 to 23, right?
I see what you mean.
Like we only knew of each other and we've just made small talk, but it wasn't until like as of recently, like we started talking more, and we found out how much commonality we have in our shared interests, and like apparently we're into like the same depth of the rabbit hole of like tech, of like games and like smartphone, like seriously, like I don't get to talk about this stuff as much as like with any other person, but you, because like nobody knows. That's the thing. Because like I'm pretty sure I can go to AI, ChatGPT. Can you please talk to me? I'm lonely.
Or get better, so you know about anything Final Fantasy, anything about actual building computers, anything about like even just science. No, like legitimately. And I'll say this, guys. So for my part, my best friend Judges, you guys know, again, it's a lot of podcasts. I would highly recommend it. He's the one that introduced me to you, Joseph. But like, I'm not calling anybody dumb. It's just that I like to know a lot. It's like I'm the person that doesn't wait for like they tell you wait for the show. No, I want to watch it already. I'll know everything about it, and then I'm like, oh, so I know everything about it already. Spoiler, and it's like, oh, okay, you know about it. So I got introduced to Joseph through my friend Judges. Took a while because I didn't want to go to the church. I was very shy. I kind of wish I didn't again. I wish I just went. I would have met you a while ago. And so recently been going, or no, not like fully now. I've been going. Not like once in a while. Been going. And we were in like, and this actually goes in because they kept wanting me to join the actual Discord calls, and again, me was like, no, don't want to do it. And I think it took like a couple months, maybe a year. And and what's it be? These calls last to like 5-6 a.m. Me and Joseph were like, what? You actually interested in this? Wait, you actually like this?
I remember the first thing we talked about, or like the first thing I recall that piqued your interest that I verbally mentioned was FLAC files. It was FLAC files.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I shared you the link to a website where you can download OSTs and albums, and like there's the option to, if it's available, to download it in FLAC high res, and sometimes they have FLAC high res 96 kilohertz, which is even higher than regular FLAC. And like I'm just telling Luis like, hey, I just like FLAC because I don't like MP3s. Nothing against MP3s. It's just like because I do care about the audio quality. That's all.
Yeah. Dude, I think MP4, MP3. I think that's like standard. Everybody knows.
That's industry standard.
That's it.
That's industry standard.
I think it's just common knowledge. Everybody knows, but
I don't even think people know what a MKV is for video. What is an MKV format? Nobody knows. Really.
I highly doubt it. I know, but you know what? That moment, I was legit shocked because first of all, not calling my friends stupid again. I'm just so curious to the point I want to know everything. It doesn't help. I like history because history makes you want to know everything about the world. And so, yeah, I was like, what? Joseph actually knows. And then I waited to see somebody actually knew was gonna, butt in. So like nobody butted in. Like, oh, so nobody knows. Okay, but I don't want to be that nerd that goes, so about the FLAC files you were talking about, do you I was gonna ask like any website you use, that you use them converted to from MP3. I'm like, I was gonna go at it, but no, actually, and this we will talk about eventually too. So that was a moment I was quiet. I was like, oh my gosh, I got shocked. And also Final Fantasy, like I'm gonna say this now, and this is a fun thing Joseph was doing. One of our artists, and I was quiet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was not even saying a word.
Yeah.
This is another moment like that where it's like, oh, me and Joseph really relate, because it's crazy how much I know that he knows about. And it was Final Fantasy. They were putting characters based on the personality look of our church members, and I was like, I'm staying quiet. I'm nerding out. I was nerding out the whole time. I was like legitimately like excited, but I didn't want to be named at all. I was like, nope, just gonna be quiet. So really interesting things were said, and anybody at the church seeing this, it was nothing offensive. Nothing. You guys are perfectly fine in your characters, except one moment. I'll leave it out for you to only know. Maybe in the future we'll talk about it. I hope so. But like the whole time I was just like, wow, okay, Joseph, okay, out there, like you guys know a lot, and I was just like keeping it, and it's funny when eventually everybody left and it was just me and Joseph, and then that's why I said, yeah, I knew it. Like I actually know this game. I actually know all about what you just said, all about everything you were just mentioning. It's like, wait, you do know? And that's another moment where it's like, I'm not the only one that knows this. Again, like Alphabet, right? Like another moment, Alphabet, like, what? You actually know this? And the reason, and just saying the reason, guys, why we're saying Alphabet is just as an example of, wait, I can't believe you know what Alphabet is. It's not part of Google. It's a different company that works with Google, pretty much, because it came from Google. So So we're just saying a moment that we both like realized, wait, we're in kind of the same level of understanding of what's going on in the world, pop culture, technology, all that kind of stuff, and ideals too. Of course, there's differences. I will say it's just funny differences. It's not like serious, but it was awesome to like know I'm not the only nerd in the room. I don't mention it. Like I legit don't. I don't want to, because I feel like either I'm leaving people out of the conversation or I'm boring them. You know what I mean? I think that's honestly how we were doing sometimes. Me and you were talking about anything Final Fantasy lores, anything where where quantum computing is going and what is it like actually producing. One of our other church member friends, like, I wish I can actually love it as much as you guys do, and I feel so bad because I'm like, dude, I don't want to leave you guys out. I want you guys to be part of the conversation, but this is who I am, like this is what I freaking breathe and live to understand, because my curiosity has peaked so high on it. Quantum computing, definitely we're going to talk about that, but that's a like a little thing of us, me and Joseph, like we found out through I guess judges he introducing me to Joseph, like how much is really in that aspect, and yeah, just saying, Joseph. You nerd.
Oh my gosh, I'm a nerd. My bad.
Are we? Would that be geeks too? That'd be geeks.
I guess.
Geeks?
I guess in a way.
Yeah, in a way. In a way. To even know that candles work.
Yeah.
For we are nerdy, bro. Like
no one's really gonna know that. No one's really gonna know that, honestly.
You guys can YouTube it, trust me, it does, but it won't be practical. And just see how they use the Wii Remote. It will tell you everything. Like the moment they move that thing with wind resistance or air resistance, that's gonna go away. For sure. I will say this. I don't know if you are like this, Joseph. Oh, because you're homeschooled. So not again, not trying to brag. I knew enough of history that I got kicked out from history class with the like I was kicked out, and like either you want to teach the class or you sit out here, and I just sat out there because I was so mad. So that's a thing you guys could know about me. I don't mind. I don't know if you had a moment like that where like you were so smart people got mad at you. I feel like everybody gets that, like that they know enough.
Well, I didn't really have that in high school because generally, well, thankfully I had good teachers, but also I guess I wasn't the only one who had like who would raise good questions. So I guess I wouldn't be like the standout, like, oh, here he goes asking another smart question. Yeah, but I would say maybe a little bit in college when I was in one of the first physics classes I had. I was just curious because we were learning about 2D projectile motion, and it was just a question about how it was regarding something with hold on, what was it specifically? I'm trying to remember because this was like 3 semesters ago. I'm trying to remember, but I just remember some of the key details were something to do with friction, air resistance, and something with I think Biot-Savart law. I think it was something along those terms. I just forget the specific question because it was an illustration from the professor, and I was just like, well, okay, hypothetically, because like we're always doing questions with like just assume that the floor is frictionless and like it's no air resistance. That's how we've always done the questions for that class at that time. So I was like saying, hypothetically, if we did have friction and like we did have air resistance, but it's not at a constant rate, it's always changing, because it's harder to calculate it with putting the equation from Biot-Savart law, right, with constantly changing variables. So like I guess something along the lines of my question was, how do you factor in constantly changing variables at constant points in time? Like, do you have to calculate it, plug in the formula and then calculate it per point that keeps changing, or do you just round up to the average and then like just give like the roughly equal sign, not the the wavy curve? So I was like, that was my question. I was like, how do you pinpoint that? Because obviously it's going to be painstakingly long to like go through each point, because if the variables keep changing, like if friction from point A to point B is like 100, and then like if from point B to point C is like 200, and it keeps changing, how do you pinpoint, like how do you provide a definitive answer basically? Or do you want us to actually go through all the points, which would take forever, hypothetically speaking? So that was I think that's something along those lines. I might have butchered the question a little bit, but it was definitely on 2D projectile motion, about friction, air resistance, and Biot-Savart law for sure.
I guess I could see how the teacher would get annoyed, like, okay, this is gonna be a too long freaking answer. But even I'd be the student, I'd be like, yeah, I do want to know, like, how is it possible?
Because like in my mind, it's really only one of two ways: either you get the average and then just calculate it, or you go through all of them. Because like it's really hard to get an in between, because like obviously average will be the shortest way, but like it's also going to be in a way the least accurate, or rather least precise. I gotta keep reminding myself the difference between accuracy and precision. And then if you do the point per point route, which is the longer route, you'll be more precise but less accurate too. So like it's like at this point, is it accuracy I'm aiming for, or precision, or like, because like sometimes because sometimes you want to depending on the question too, sometimes you have to keep it to a certain amount of what is it called, not just decimal places, but like numerical figures, right? Because sometimes like you can't include 100,000.38. Sometimes it needs to be to just 2 sig figs. There you go. Why am I forgetting sig figs? Sometimes you need to round up and get the proper sig figs down. So all the more I'm like, okay.
So the question, it was the questioning of how the professor put it. It was where, okay, where do you how many decimals do you want me to put it in? Because the more decimals, the more inaccurate, pretty much, you're trying to say. I see what
In
you
a way,
mean.
it's like decimal places too, but it's just more of like, how do you want me to go about getting the answer? Because hypothetically, right? Let's say there's you, Luis, on a moving box and it's friction, and there's the ground, right? So hypothetically, not hypothetically, we've always done it in class when it's ever problems with air resistance and or friction. Just assume it's frictionless. Assume it's no air resistance. So I asked the question of hypothetically, if there was not just friction and air resistance, but also the variables of both are constantly changing. It's not fixed. How do you calculate that? And
It's
if
impossible.
we do calculate that, like even if we limit it to 5 points, do you want me to go through all those 5 points accordingly? Or do you want me to just get the average and then just calculate it one time and then just say this is roughly the equivalent to it? But of course, then with that, it's not precise, it's accurate. But the other one, if I do it the longer way, it's precise but less accurate. So I'm like, in a way you could boil it down to accuracy versus precision, but it was still I was really curious because it's like we always, especially with formulas, you're generally going to do it with fixed variables unless the problem specifically states that like, oh, you have 2 different points you need to calculate for, right? So I was saying hypothetically because in real life the friction is not going to be a fixed constant variable or numerical figure. Same thing with air resistance. It's going to keep changing. So like, precision error, percentage error, and like calculation error, even all those factor in. So I'm just like, I know we're all dealing with theoretical, but realistically speaking, how do you go about that? Basically, I was asking a really advanced question that like probably I didn't need to ask, but I was really curious because I'm like, how do you calculate that? Because as engineers, especially when you get into the workforce, where if you manufacture cars, for example, you are factoring in this very same case of friction and air resistance, and they are constantly changing variables or numerical figures. So how does one calculate that, considering that there is no fixed point? It's always changing.
There'll never be a fixed point in anything, if anything.
Because not only you have friction and air resistance, you have also the person pushing the pedal of the car, and then you have all the gears turning in and the axles rotating too. So there's going to be some type of resistance, and also like you gotta make sure everything is properly working, oiled up, etc. Like there's so many factors, right? And that's where my headspace was like, how do you like basically deal with all those factors that like you can't keep at a fixed number?
Man, I can only imagine that either you were at that point going ahead of the professor, or like, hey, I'm gonna get to that, and then they're like, don't ask that right now, we're gonna get to that part. That's where I'm thinking.
It kind of got answered, but also I was like, that's more of like the better way to explain is in upper division like physics. And I was like, oh dang, so I guess I kind of shot ahead, because also like with that physics class, since it's focusing on projectile motion, it is just trying to keep it theoretical. I mean literally the reason why they keep it to like frictionless and no air resistance is to just focus on if you know the equations and you're able to solve the variables properly, and eliminate unnecessary variables. Basically, you're getting down the basic fundamentals of and mind you, this is physics with applied calculus as well, so it's not your typical physics as well, or your regular physics rather. So all the more like it's trying to keep it in a way linear, so that for the lower division it's understandable and digestible. I mean, even if it is digestible, physics is still tough. I'm not gonna lie. Physics is the hardest physics out of all of them. I not only say that from my opinion, but I do believe people say physics is like the hardest out of all the sciences.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Because it basically it's a combination of a little bit of everything. And I'm like, dear Lord, I don't want to deal with chemistry or like even organic chemistry. Thank goodness I didn't have to take chemistry.
Biochemistry. No, like chemistry, I would say chemistry is math, literally just math.
Yeah.
With understanding what actual, like, okay, the amount of this chemical to this chemical does this reaction.
Because with chemistry, it's more math and numbers, and you have to like just be able to translate and remember like, oh, this is equivalent to this amount, and every science has you convert from like the metric system to the metric system, but definitely I definitely agree that chemistry is like, it's more, for me it's more memorization and math, whereas physics is more of like how well do you understand the concepts, and then from there it's just calling back to your algebra, your trig, and your calc 1. Or in a way, calc 2 as well. But it's basically just falling back on what you already know. It's just, do you understand the concepts and how these formulas are used? That's it.
And I'll say this for physics, it doesn't use all the math.
Like, yeah, it does not use all the math.
It uses some of the math. I'm telling you now, because like when I took it, I was really more intrigued, and I was like fearful of math. But when I took it, I'm like, wait, I don't have to use all the math, like every single physics equation, every single algebra equation. No, it's certain ones, not all of them. So it was more simpler to understand. Again, but it is, I think, out of all the sciences, is the hardest one. Bio is just, it's always consistent. You always have the consistency because humans don't change unless you're
an alien.
Yeah,
you're
at that point.
UFO.
Human alien, of course, obviously counts.
You're artificially mutated genetic experiments.
The government's gonna definitely go for you, so run away. No,
I've been running away. That's my name on the IRS tax forms, and the W2 forms are redacted. Date of birth redacted.
Oh
There's a bunch of redacted information.
IRS, please don't look at my history. I
don't look at my fake LinkedIn page, please.
My MySpace page that still says I paid the IRS.
The MySpace page that says I quote unquote pay for the IRS.
No, dude, I don't even know if MySpace is still up, bro. I don't think it is, but I'm like crazy. It's funny you talk physics. It's crazy you like physics, because I don't think anybody else in the church does.
I mean, I know one other person takes it, but I don't know if he actually likes it.
Oh,
I think he just. Yeah. I mean, he takes physics, but I have to double check if he. I don't recall though. He says he's very fond of it, but he doesn't mind doing it just because he has to.
Physics.
Oh, but quantum physics. Oh, I don't think anyone really is interested in quantum physics. Because also quantum physics just breaks the laws of regular physics. So you're going on a different territorial plane of how physics works, because now you're breaking a lot of the laws of physics because it's quantum.
You're breaking the Catholic Church's ideals, so that makes sense.
But I mean, a lot of the quantum physics, it's a lot of predictions that came true from Einstein too. A lot of it he predicted, and it's and then we had for example with the atomic bomb, right, with that whole production and creation of it with Oppenheimer, it just brought a lot of fruition of quantum physics, how its theoretical and practical applications are now realized. And
have you seen the whole paperwork and ideas Einstein had for the possibility, not possibility of how it was gonna work?
I haven't read all of them, but I've read some of them, and I'm like, dude, this dude was ahead of his time. Legit. Yes. He is big brain. Not even big brain,
we need him again.
He has giga brain. Actual giga brain. It was fascinating to see the work. I was like, how do you have this in your head? There's no way.
Please tell me you know how he got the speed of light. Please tell me you know that.
I actually want to know what his mind, his thought process.
He did. He did.
No. I know. But him as a human being to actually go through it, I don't know if and be know. I cracked the code. This is the equation and the calculation for getting the speed of light. Because we all know he got it. Oh. But to be able to go through that process and just be how on earth do you do that? You have to be of course he's talented and unique, one of one.
Yeah.
But just to even go through that experience, to get the even trying to figure out what the speed of light is and how many calculations you have to go through of trial and error till you actually pinpoint it down to this. That's super fascinating to me.
I mean, that's the thing that ultimate will never understand, because it's your thoughts are not my thoughts, kind of moment. It's dang, I wish they were at that point. Obviously you're gonna be wanted by the U.S. government a lot, probably paid tons of millions of dollars. I can only imagine. But I don't know if people know the story of the speed of light, how even Einstein envisioned it, because literally he was going to a train in I think in Italy, somewhere in Italy.
Yeah, it was a train.
It was a train, because I when I go to under the tunnels now, I look at the lights and how faster and faster it gets. It's the warp speed pretty much, or it gets so fast that you cannot consistently see light as it is anymore. That's just one line now. It's not one bulb. It's just a line of bulbs.
It's just a blur. It's just a big blur.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it's a blur.
that's IRL motion blur turned on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, fair. Technically, you know, if you want to say that, fair. But that's literally the story of it. I don't know if people want to know more. I know that Einstein's brain was kept literally in New York, underground, and like, dude.
I heard that. That was interesting.
that learning that, it's like we just want to know, like, how do we think as him? Even the people that have the IQ of him, I don't think they have like unlocked what he has his thoughts, because that's a personality too. That was his personality, just thinking outside, always of the box. He did want to have God's thoughts, but I don't think that's legit possible. That's like developer mode. You can't understand the developers, but you can have the idea of it, but you can't have the developer mode. But no, like, man, that's fun. See, I didn't know you knew that like as much. That's people know the surface level of it, but not deeper levels.
Because like I remember, and of course it's not just Einstein, although he is primarily like at the forefront of the contribution to the speed of light. Because like you also have to acknowledge that like we've had earlier measurements of trying to get the speed of light. Like if I remember correctly, what's his name? Romer? Something. But it was way before Einstein where this guy tried to calculate the speed of light by looking at Jupiter's moons or some type of moon. I'm not really a history buff, so take this everybody with a grain of salt, and you can fact check me on this, but this is what I am remembering. There was somebody way before Einstein did, of course, and he tried measuring by just looking at the moons of Jupiter or moons of another planet, whatever the case may be. And then of course before that you have Maxwell's equations, which I believe every physicist is very familiar with. You use Maxwell's equations, and like you learn that like up lower division of physics as well.
Einstein used it, you have to.
Basically, for those who don't know, Maxwell's equations, especially if you take a physics class with electromagnetism, it's basically equations with that unify electricity and magnetism, and they just basically electromagnetic waves and how that travels at a certain speed, and that's how you get to the speed of light eventually. That's like a very simplified, summarized version of it. I can go into more detail about it, but
simplified.
Yeah, but basically it's equations that try to predict the existence of electromagnetic waves that travel at a constant speed, and I'll just leave it at that. But basically, that Maxwell's equations were there before Einstein, and then of course you have the challenges to classical physics or mechanics, like Newtonian physics, right? Where if I remember correctly, Newtonian physics assumed that, and Luis, if you know more about this than me, feel free to correct on me too. But if I remember correctly, it assumes that space and time are absolute and that it has to stay that way. However, this did not corroborate with Maxwell's equations, because Maxwell's equations observed the invariance of C, which is basically why Maxwell's equations hold up. Newtonian physics kind of butt heads.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. No, yeah, you're right. I was about to say, I'm like, they're arguing. You cannot stop. It kind of breaks, to be fair, going like to the future and back to the future, because you can't warp it. You can't. They're consistent, always together.
Yeah.
But it does butt heads with more math that says yes, you can speed time up, but no, I don't. They do. That's where physics would be like, no, it does. Those equations themselves, if people know, well, and I know, butt heads, whereas in like, meaning like they're just not physically, mathematically impossible to do. Mathematically, physically, we're still not even there yet. Like,
for sure, we can't.
Yeah,
we just can't.
But and people, but mathematically, some things make sense. That's what I'm trying to say. It's hard to explain. You have to know the equations and then how they apply to each other and against each other.
And you have to factor into there's differential forms and integral forms of those equations too. So all the more it's more complicated.
Yes. And but we did get that so my professor over here, the person that's gonna go to City College, hopefully, where I took physics, and then that question we did have to arise where math does say yes, where does physics say no? Because physics is technically math, but it's also the real world, as in like what actually there's like concrete. Yes, there's laws that obviously can't be broken, but there is also like this could work mathematically, but by law it does not work. Yeah. So
there's so many things I learned too from my physics classes where like in theory this works in principle it does work, but mathematically it wouldn't be able to work. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. This is so interesting about physics, and that's part of what kept me hooked in physics, because I'm like, well, it's odd that in principle this works, but mathematically we can't compute it or even calculate it. And I'm like, that's so fascinating. And I'm like, interesting how we got to like these rules and fundamentals and even principle laws for physics. When
I heard law, because I'll say this, my major being criminal justice, knowing the law, I have to know the law. Like yes, no. And when it came to the law of physics, it made me think, what is it to break it? And like it's and then you go deeper into it, why it cannot be broken. It's like literally like 2 + 2. It just cannot be broken. And or saying man and woman conceive a child, it cannot be broken. Yes, like I'm saying, like we're just saying it just happens because it happens, no question about it. It just will happen. That's how. And I'm a person that tries to break law. It's funny in criminal justice, but like I want to challenge it to the point. And that's why I don't know if you were a student that asked so many questions. I always did when it came to like, this is what the law of physics speaks and results as, and why we cannot. Like the light of speed literally cannot be broken. It's like the fastest thing you can. I know I gotta remember the number. That's my problem. But it cannot be broken. It's a 300 something. I remember at the 300.
The speed of light. Oh gosh.
300,000 miles let's say per second. Like I know that if the speed of light can go 8 times, like if it's just one flash, 8 times around the Earth, like just one like actual particle can just go once of light 8 times around the Earth. My professor we just questioned him like how we can break these rules, and it's just not possible because like it's definite, it's just set in stone. And but if you don't have these laws, then there's no like foundation to build off of them, which makes sense. You know what I mean? Like
you have to consider also the fundamentals, right? You can't break certain fundamentals, and you can't just add on to fundamentals too. It's like you have to consider, like theoretically, if we are to add another new concept or principle, you have to literally backlog everything that exists so far and see if it's an agreement. It builds and hinges upon certain equations and other principles. And then what do you propose as a new case, for this to be used or even be conceptualized? Because that's always the hardest thing. Like, how does this corroborate with everything else? And albeit there is some concepts out there that like mostly corroborate, but have a little like few gray areas that are like, okay, it kind of doesn't work with others, but like, I guess we still use it. But that's the fascinating thing about physics and just sciences in general. There's just some weird, interesting, and mysterious things too.
Man, this is why it kind of
quantum theory.
Yeah, no, it's legit breaking physics. Like, not breaking it as in like we're gonna bust.
It's so interesting that like everything in quantum theory or even just quantum physics, you kind of have to forget everything about. Well, not forget everything, but you kind of have to like put that aside because it's just like it doesn't really apply here anymore. It's basically playing a new game plus, but like you can't carry a lot of things over. It really is because like it's just different. It really is just different.
Oh man, it's not gonna break the real world, guys. I'm just saying, not the real world. It's not gonna build it. It's not gonna make it like a freaking black hole and suck us all up. Okay, we're just saying more digitally. It's doing the impossible possible.
Yeah.
Because it's we're using light light abilities like that crazy fast to do what right now we're doing is like years worth of work. I'm just saying that because quantum theory, people think like, oh, so this is trying to do like real world damage. No, I would say, to stupid simplify it, it's digitally, like the digital world, not the physical world. Even though we have physical like things like maybe a quantum computer, maybe quantum particles, yeah, you know, like maybe that is a little bit of the real world, but still like, you know, there's because there are scary theories on that. It's more like digital. It's more like non-tangible things yet. Other than the particle accelerator, yes, that is a little bit scary. It could make a black hole.
Particle accelerator. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That does exist. Isn't it the particle accelerator, the one that recently, like, or not recently, but the one that really like made people like really question it? Like, wasn't it in like England or something, or like somewhere in the other side of the globe?
France,
yeah, right, where it's underground.
Netherlands.
It's underground, and they keep clashing protons and electrons, right?
Yes.
And then like, well, surely nothing blows up, right? Nothing happens, right?
Scientists, a Swedish scientist said it could make a black hole, but it wouldn't be the size to take the world. It's like, why is it making black holes? Like,
exactly, like why even risk it? Let alone it's like near civilians. Like, you're not even far away. You're not even like a remote place. You're not even at a far remote place where like the least amount of lives can be taken. It's like just right there underground.
It's underground. Yeah, it's underground. Literally 100 feet. You're just doing this thing, you know. Don't worry about it. Don't mind us.
Just imagine eating a baguette and your coffee in the morning is ruined because a black hole just starts to appear. Like, what the heck happened?
Well, it's just all Europe is gone. Don't worry, China. You'll find new customers somewhere else.
You're just enjoying your dark roast black coffee, and then boom, it's gone because there's something else black. The black hole
gone. France is gone.
The black coffee is gone because of the black hole. Oh my gosh.
No, like no lie. They're making new elements, bro. Like, that's insane. They're making new elements with it.
That's cool, but also like, whoa, okay.
I mean, hey, we might make Wakandan kind of equivalent, bro. You know, just find out. We got
type of equivalent.
I'm just saying new metals. But like, my thing is, what if a quantum computer can tell, like, okay, this is the actual speed you need to do it at instead of this speed you're doing it at now. You know, like, is that a moral kind of like thing? Like, should we even do it, even though it tells us to do it? Like,
well, isn't that a very similar thing with the atomic bomb? Like, in theory, it was possible, but morally and ethically, like, even geopolitically, like, whoever does it is going to get a bad look. But it's a matter of like, because for us, the United States, we were in a race against the Germans. We know that the Germans cannot be trusted. So if we had the choice, we would drop it. Yes, still, it is a devastating and horrifying truth to reveal to the whole world that, hey, we have these weapons now. But like, who would you rather it's basically, who would you rather have it drop? Or who would you rather drop it? Basically, the lesser of two evils. Would you rather have Germany drop it first? Or would you rather have the United States drop it first? And so we are on the side of history where the United States dropped it first. And it was, yes, innocent lives were taken, unfortunately, but it was meant to be sent as a warning call that, like, hey, this is the power of it, and now we need to have like this universal agreement for like nuclear warfare. That like, we need to maintain a peace treaty. We're not going to, because at the snap of a finger, a whole nation can be wiped out. Let alone we can destroy the whole world. And so, and going back to your question, right? Like, even if it tells us to do it, should we do it? That's basically the same moral question of like, just because something can be done, should it be done?
I mean, we did it once. We can do it again.
Oh my god!
That turned out first time.
You know, that was the beta. That was the full release. That was the beta.
The quantum computer leaves like, you know, it's like such a long thing, right? We read it, and the very end says, "Okay, don't be stupid enough to do it." Actually,
we didn't read the fine print. My bad. My bad, ChatGPT. We didn't read the fine print. My bad.
We just read, yes, it works. But then we didn't read the bottom that said, but don't do it. That's just so dumb for you to do it. I mean, bro, like, I would say, yeah, you're right. I guess what country would have it first and where. But yeah, pretty much who would have it first? I think the US, as dumb as we are, I feel like we would try to have it first. No lie. I'm not saying the US is superior and let's be American, you know. I'm just saying the US would try its hardest to get it first before any other country can. Even all Europe would like, nope. Like we're gonna know that before you know. Because eventually, who knows it first? It's gonna be at that too. Because everybody now has nuclear weapons. Who's gonna know it now first? Because that can hinder a whole country. Like again, we're digital. We're going quantum computing. Whoever knows it first, whoever can master it first, will eventually can hinder other countries. Like we don't want you to know how to know. Like we'll hinder it. Like okay, oh, Russia's trying to know. We're gonna try to hack them, destroy. Like not destroy them like, physically, but like as we can prolong it as much as we can for them not to know what this is or what they're missing out on. You know what I mean? Like example, you know, right now Kim Jong-un trying to find out how to make nuclear weapons. Yes, he might know, but if we were more serious, we could have like delayed them from actually knowing how they are. Not nuke the country, but like just saying like
exactly
hacking, maybe the Tinder, what the
Tamper,
the act tamper there, tamper the like. They like Tinder. Send some Tinder bad dates.
Kim Jong-un's in Tinder? What? How do you know, Luis?
Hey,
how do you know?
Sorry. Swipe. It's a hairstyle. It's a hairstyle.
Some information that the government needs to withhold.
Bro, no. Yeah, no lie. I was so curious to go to North Korea, but then I'm like, no, heck no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be crazy now. There's curiosity, but then there's just stupidity, and I think that was the borderline stupidity part for me on that one. I mean, it was curious. Come on, but once that one American, I believe, was it American or Canadian? I forgot. That one white guy did. I think he was American.
I forget.
But he did pass away from some tampering evidence, obviously.
Yeah, I remember reading that. I just don't remember if it was Canadian or American.
Yeah, and that I think he was Canadian, or unless he landed here for just purposes. But yeah, I just remember that. I'm just saying that was also one thing you should know. I did want to, because I like to travel, and so I wanted to travel to a dangerous country. It's like, why not? But no, yeah, that is quantum computing. We can talk about it more for sure. Literally,
quantum computing man, that's a huge topic too. Because like
it's gonna be on my phone. Yeah.
Gosh, that's a big topic. Because like you can even talk about a little bit like, or like theoretically you could talk about like special relativity by Einstein and its postulates and like also general relativity, right? Because both do contribute to quantum theory and more so how it is used for quantum computing. And like we have to also understand that like, well, I mean also morals of it, but also like just the effects it has to quantum statistics, quantum mechanics, quantum computing. Like they all bear the same name of quantum, but they're all still very different in their own regard.
Oh yeah. Let's make that clear. Yeah, quantum is definitely not just for computers, not just the physics, not just the science in general. It has all different roles in every single field of it. Yeah, every field. Because yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people we've been hearing quantum computing, but that's just one. That's engineering. Let's say engineering.
Oh gosh, because like with quantum computing, this kind of goes in AI too a little bit. Because like with quantum computing, this whole arms race, this whole global arms race of who can get the first like basically become the superpower of quantum computing. Because like before, honestly, the race we've had globally was, aside from who can get to the moon first, was this nuclear or no before the nuclear arms race was who can get to the moon. And then now we're in a position where who can get the best quantum computer first, because whoever gets that first basically you have power, like unanimous power globally. Like everybody is behind you. You have the power to disperse anything. Because with quantum computing, now you have, like in America, we have IBM, right? We have IBM as like a prominent leader for quantum computing, and just also like commercial quantum processors for both the big tech companies and also for, as of recently, the general consumer now. Of course, still limited and still like, no pun intended, quantified to a smaller size and like smaller. Basically, it's limited. Is my point, right? But
yes,
with IBM leading the way for the US so far, they are very far ahead so far. And on top of it, you also have the influence of Google, Microsoft, and then more so with like the processors, you have with GPUs like NVIDIA, right? And then you also have the whole geopolitical situation with Taiwan, right? With TSMC, right? If I
TSMC,
believe
that's what I believe. You know, it's TSMC. I corrected you. You had in the notes. I put TSMC. The reason why I added that as a one topic for AI, because they legit don't want to share. Like they have a company over here in Arizona, like, or a manufacturing, and they even said the 5mm, I believe, they don't want to share that because that's their shield in their country. Well, whoever wants, you know, Chinese can say province, you know, Americans say country, but they literally won't share it for the US because they're like, no, this is literally what's keeping us alive. If we give it to the US, then we have no like protection, because the US is like, hey, I'm gonna protect you because you have that technology, and China wants to rob that because like, hey, we want the technology. So it's like Taiwan's become now literally like a gold that everybody wants to get that nobody has. And literally there's the president of TSMC literally said he has a button to just destroy every factory in Taiwan. Like if it got invaded, definitely got taken, blowing up all that. So we would be in the dark age. And I'm telling anybody that has to don't, and I'm trying to make this very clear how it's important. It's on our computers. NVIDIA needs also these chips. It's on your phones, and it's legit even in your fridge. Of how, like, because they make various amounts. They don't have to make just the 5. I think the highest they go was to 50, but like that's for like general like dumb things that you need. But now when it comes to like AI, you can say, oh, I don't need AI. Well, if you use ChatGPT, well, and then they go out, well, too bad, you won't have that no more. And we'll leap back, like yeah, you can say maybe it might not hurt you now. Obviously, I get it, and the world can live with it, but we as humans like to progress and progress and progress no matter what. Yeah. And yes, but we're gonna be deleting like years worth of our own progress. Obviously we are not the ones involved there, but like if we want the future, we're deleting pretty much a big chunk of our leap forward into the future. Yeah, and I don't think, and plus the US uses these chips in their actual jet fighters, so I don't think it's going to be like, oh yeah, we just delete it, you know, just throw it away.
Because like honestly, with like even on the topic of like semiconductors, right? NVIDIA needs it, AMD needs it, Intel also needs it, even though Intel's like really low right now. Like like just these 3 companies, for example, they need to rely on Taiwan and TSMC, right? I'm making sure TSMC, I get the letter in right. Okay, yeah. Because TSMC, they are the one dominating in producing these semiconductors. More so, they are critical, like you said, Luis, for like ChatGPT and like especially quantum computing. They are essential for both AI, you know, artificial intelligence and quantum computers, because it now then extends to geopolitical like impact, and Taiwan is playing it very strategically because, like you said, it's the only thing keeping them like up and running. Because once that knowledge is given away, they're no longer of importance. They're no longer have any protection for themselves, and whoever takes that hypothetically is the world superpower. Like if China gets it, we're far behind. All the lead IBM has had so far is now lost because China has that information. So
Yep.
it's so crucial of how Taiwan, like Taiwan's existence and what role it plays, especially in like producing these chips, these semiconductors. You may think it's small because, like, I mean, these are really small chips too. Well, the smallest is really small, but even then, it's the information. It's not necessarily the product. It's the information to those.
Yeah.
Those are vital.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
like also South Korea. I mean, aside from the United States, you have South Korea and Japan also trying to bolster their kind of like manufacturing
trying to-
semiconductors. They're trying to
Yeah,
as well.
they're not-
Aside from
yeah.
just the United States and China, they are
Yeah.
trying to as well. Man, the impact they have on the supply chain and how it could potentially disrupt the supply chain. Because I mean,
Dude, that's
even during the
insane.
pandemic, we already heard there was a chip shortage.
Yeah,
and,
chip
like-
shortage, and look at what happened there.
And
That's it.
that is important and crucial to the global tech industry and also quantum development, especially with AI now helping with quantum computing all the more. Like you're gonna all the more the supply is in demand. So the supply chain is very fragile right now.
I would say if anybody wants an iPhone 17, new actual Samsung phones, wants anything improved, unless you're comfortable with what we got right now, and Taiwan gets taken, well, we ain't going nowhere then. We're just gonna stay in the same iPhone series. Apple won't even release it. Be like, sorry, here's a new update because like we can't produce new phones because China, just took them. And it will personally hurt the consumer. It's just we think AI, we're like, oh, just robots that will talk more. And like, no, it's not just AI. It's the chips that will be hindered, and then or it could be like, hey, China takes it over. They somehow don't blow up the factories. Well, hey, now you're gonna have to pay a premium because that chip that we bought for you, it's like $1,000. So the phone, $1,000 plus a chip, so $2,000. Like it's. So that dude, it's so important to get Taiwan because literally, I don't know if you guys know this, but the U.S. military makes literally exercises around Taiwan just to like China back off or don't even touch it. Yep. It's costing us dollars just for us to like have our warships just be around there, just like, hey, anytime you take over this little piece of island, we're gonna go to you. Like. Tax dollars are being used just to like just wander around there. We're not doing nothing. We're just wandering around. But like the U.S. military is not going to want to give up their manufacturer for the chip they use for the most advanced jets now in the world. And think about it. Do you want China to have the most advanced tanks, jets, nukes? Because when it comes to nukes, when it comes to rockets, you need a good chip. So when it flies off and you don't want to, somebody from freaking Beijing controlling it, and you want it to just fly and say, here, I want it to hit San Francisco. So it's so much computing it has to do to be like, okay, gyroscope, keep level, make sure you're still on target, make sure you're still moving up, and like down now. Like the chip is doing all the work. So like, again, we have to emphasize not just AI, but there's like actual consequences for whoever owns these chips. And even the US is trying to make bargains like, okay, look, we'll give you more protection. You just give us a better millimeter chip. But then like Taiwan's like, no, we're going to give you only this. But like, are you sure? We'll give you more protection now. Okay, we'll give you this. And but now, yeah, like you said, Korea and Japan are like, okay, we don't want to depend on Taiwan no more. We want to be able to make our own chips. And so
also, like even in the US, you have companies like Amazon, for example, starting to produce their own chips. And I was like,
oh yeah,
because I did hear about it too. I was like, oh, even Amazon is starting to. Because I think Microsoft's been for a little bit already, but I was like, Amazon is getting into it too. I'm like, oh, wow.
Dude, if Amazon is, think about it. Amazon that literally only delivers now is thinking, oh, we should do chips. That's concerning. Yeah. It's kind of concerning. I mean, good, but concerning that even a freaking a store that only ships stuff now is realizing, oh, they are important. This is not just a chip is not just a chip.
Yep.
I didn't even know that Amazon was going.
I read it like I think like a couple days ago. I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like, Amazon? Because like you said, like pretty much we know Amazon for like the shopping and like they ship it to you Prime Day or like 1 day shipping sometimes. We're like
Wow.
even they themselves as a company are getting involved into like producing semiconductors and chips. And I was like, whoa. Because the article I was reading before that was on how AMD is making strides to try to, and the article was a little cheesy, but I mean it's smart too. It was AMD strides to chip away at NVIDIA's lead for like semiconductor production. And and then I saw like one of the recommended articles. It was like Amazon something producing, like getting involved in that industry. I was like, wait, what? Then I read it and I was like, they are actually, and I think it's like 100 million they're investing already to produce semiconductors. And
R&D,
like, dude,
man,
it's it's interesting and fascinating at the same time.
The R&D this is what I'm saying. Even if TMC goes out and nothing happens, the R&D that we're deleting of human history is just insane. Like there's billions of dollars already gone and just TMC doing it itself. Like the history of that company is insane. First of all, the man that made it, he literally didn't expect it. He was just doing it for microwaves and cooking, crock pots kind of like style. And now he's literally, his family legacy is literally leaving to Taiwan a trillion, if gonna be, for companies to like want that. Like honestly, be jealous. Like it's like that's like the Amazon of chips. Amazon. There's Amazon. Like everybody who dreams to be Amazon for shipping, but no, they're the best. But man,
Also,
it's just so
really
much.
quick on Amazon, great return policy too.
guys, I have to just say yes. It has the best return policy ever, best customer service you ever receive. Not sponsored at all.
Not sponsored.
But if you ever want to get something expensive and return it, just saying, do it. Just do it once. Do it once. Legally, they can't sue you. Jeff Bezos, please sponsor us for a podcast.
You're gonna ask for a sponsored segment after just saying do it once because it's legal. They can't see you, dude.
Yeah, no, we're letting them know how good it is. Letting them know how good it is, and we can describe our stories of the experiences we received.
So just go to a Micro Center down in SoCal, buy a 3070 NVIDIA GPU, and then buy a 3080 from Amazon, and then you just return it to Amazon. But it's a 3070. It's the.
Come on. I'm just saying, you know what? The time they do quantum computers, and I know how much they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry. My Apple, AI, wasn't a quantum computer, unfortunately, or it tried to be. So I'll return that instead.
Mm-hmm.
And just saying, just make it wild, Just make it wild once. I might be do it twice, but.
No.
Amazon, please.
It's only three strikes. It's only 3 strikes and you're out.
Oh, if it's that case, then I'm gonna. No. Honestly, Amazon is so good for it, but just be cautious, guys. Just be cautious. Don't do what Joseph did.
I never confirmed.
I never did it.
I never stated I did it.
I don't know who has done it. Honestly, there must be crazy stories on that. I don't think I hit the mark. I see people that
don't
went
adhere,
crazy.
and nor do I confirm if I ever did such actions, such criminal actions.
I'll speak with my lawyer before I say anything about my story.
I have to make sure if I signed an NDA or not. I don't remember.
An NDA, bro? What you mean? If you even have one, that's it. You're done. You're cooked. That's it. You don't have to even say it. You don't even have to ever say that no more. No. Like an NDA, I think you can't even speak about it. Like, no, you're not supposed to. But I'm saying, like, I don't think you ever even mentioned you even did it. No, but that's another thing. That's the thing. I don't think I ever met somebody that ever did what I did other than Joseph, and Joseph proudly said it youth like group in our Discord, and I was shocked. That was like another one. Like, dang, I thought I was the only one that ever did that. So Joseph, just letting you know, I legit did not know. I to this day nobody has ever told me. I think I have to YouTube that, like, or Google it, or you know, it's freaking Yahoo Answers to find out if somebody had done that, because nobody ever admitted. Yeah, I done this. I said it, and nobody has ever told me, like, or at least give me a hint that you have done something like it. You don't have to say you did it, but like, oh yeah, Amazon's policy of returns are really good. Like, that's enough. Like, oh, I know what you mean. Because I look at the business side of Amazon, man. I feel so bad when they do that, because I know they have, like, Amazon is so rich. This is one thing. Amazon is so rich. Not Jeff Bezos. Like, forget Jeff Bezos. Yes, he's rich. But like, if the company, because you know how the company itself has to make money. He can't. Yeah. Jeff Bezos can't go into the credit card company and be like, yeah, let me use it. He'll get like fired himself. Like, if you research what they have in movies, in actual like delivery, they're trying to get their own airplanes now to do deliveries, their own truck system.
Drones too. I heard drones.
Drones to deliver. Yeah, drones to deliver in specific countries by their laws, and they have to go by the country, by the city, and by the actual county. That's like, it goes crazy in that. One more, also they got into, like you were just talking about, like doing chips. They host servers.
Yep.
So like, I'm like, I think it's AMS, I believe, something like that.
I think
like,
so.
I mean, they're in grocery stores.
It's definitely A something.
A something, right? Yeah, okay. Because like, if they have their own grocery store, like, they branch out so much. Amazon itself, the company, has so much funds. When I did it, I didn't feel guilty at all. I'm like, no, yeah, Lord, I'm sorry. You know, you told me not to do it, and I did it. That was before I got converted. Just saying.
I just said a prayer. I said, Lord, purge my heart with hyssop, for I have sinned, but also grant me your divine providence in playing games at a better graphics and higher frame rate.
I did my repentance after.
Father, you know my heart. I have basically just got the same product, or different product, with the proper means, and I believe you provided.
No, and I returned the similar product back. Okay, so they can still use it.
No, basically you say, Jesus, thank you for revealing to me this method of getting the better product for the price of the cheaper product. Thank you.
Oh my God, cheaper. No, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I said to Joseph, and this is Amazon, but I didn't do it, so Amazon can't get on me. But I was like, okay, I'll do one podcast, and then I'll return this mic right after, and then I get my money back. But it was on sale, so I love this mic.
Theoretically, every episode you buy one, return, buy, return, buy, return.
It's like, oh no, RGB lights. Like, oh, I gotta turn it. I gotta return it real quick. No, I don't even return the cord it comes with. I'll just return the mic.
No, not even the stand. It's just the mic.
Like, here, you could take look similar spheres, you know, kind of look like, here you go. Yeah. Just chop this half off, and then just
honestly, you should just have a print out the image of it, and then just wrap it around the water bottle, and just wrap it around the water bottle and return it.
I was gonna say, if that counts. I was like, can I like weigh this amount?
Yeah, and then you just have a description for a reason for return. Product is not as description.
I was gonna say, could that count? But like, I think I seen that once only in a YouTube video, because like they were getting scammed on Craigslist, but like it was like the image, like you bought what you got for, but it was an image. I'm like, that's not fair. That's like the listing image. But I'm like, can that be legally fair? Because like, you got what you paid for. Because you're looking at online. Amazon, I'm only looking at image. I'm not looking at a physical product.
Yeah, that is true.
So if I send you back, if I get all the photos of that listing, can I just send it back? Be like, I didn't receive that. That's so dumb. But yes, guys, please do it. Please don't do it. But if you do it like only 3 times. I only done it once.
We're not advocating or endorsing any of this. We're merely just stating things we have heard. Oh dang it, my camera's tracking me again. Oh, the camera's tracking me again. The government's listening. I'm sorry, IRS. I will pay my taxes.
Amazon AMS finds out.
I will do my taxes.
No, Amazon's making sure they're scanning. They're like, okay, he's returned everything actually.
Yeah.
Like that PS5 is actually not the one he bought from online, and just make sure that's ours.
Oh, I just had to beat someone up, and I got it.
Oh my! Hey yo, yeah, that PS5 sounds like it has to be borrowed by somebody. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
Just saying. I have a PS5, but I think I got the same one as you. But see, I'm not offering. I'm offering. I'm not demanding.
Yeah, you know me too. I'm offering Luis, my brother, to play Rebirth.
You're like, brother, hurry up, play it now. He's like, no, I want to play it later. Like, hurry up, we need it now before.
What's funny though? He told me last night. Two nights ago, he just beat Remake on hard mode. For context, audio listeners, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So yeah, I guess we have now entered into Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, go ahead. That's a good introduction.
But yeah, he told me 2 nights ago he just beat Remake on hard mode because I don't know if he re-beat it again in hard mode, but it's just I know he mainly wanted to play through it again because it's been a while since he last played Remake, and he just wanted to refresh his memory too, and also experience the game. I mean, it's a great game. But
we mentioned that there's an orchestra going on, and just please, whoever, there's no tickets, just fill it up. I'm just letting you know, it's in SJ. Beautiful. Can't wait. Yeah.
But with him, right? So I told him, okay, so I guess you want to play Rebirth now. So he didn't give me an answer, but the option's on the table. That's all I'm saying.
Dang.
And to whoever was asking if they can borrow my PS5, I just gotta say family first.
Oh, family first. Okay.
No hate, Atta. You know who you are, but it's like no hate. Please don't hurt me.
If the person that talked about the candles does not want to play it, I think I will offer it gladly. Okay, I will be here as.
No, honestly, just get her a gaming laptop and just have her play it on Steam.
We can do a trade. For the moment. Trade. Boom. I go hey, look, I can play Marvel Rivals, comp now.
True. I like where this is going.
I'm gonna get my PC. I'm not gonna get a gaming laptop. Anybody can make the argument, fine, but a PC I think is just more reliable in the end game, or in the long run in the game. Because not just gaming, because you can always switch it up. But I think a laptop, yes, you can, but it's just more difficult. More to do for what you like. You can have a sexy case. Upgrade your memory, upgrade your GPU. Obviously, put pictures of yourself on top of them.
Oh yes. Obviously, we're talking about this.
No, the one on the right. On the right.
Oh, you're right. Me and my peak physique.
I saw of yourself.
Yeah, that is me.
I'm just saying, guys.
I am
back to Final Fantasy. That's the one he Joseph puts of himself. I did not know. I don't think anybody else agreed, but himself, to say yes, I am Cloud. Just saying, nobody. I don't think you agreed either. I think you were just no, but I could be wrong on that day. But that's the day I was quiet and I did not put myself any character of Final Fantasy. I think you said who did you tell me I was?
I said maybe you could be Roche.
Roche? No. I gotta go back. Maybe. But I need double confirmation on that one. I can't just have one like Joseph did of Cloud automatically being Cloud. Because he wants a specific date. So.
Oh my days.
It's what you said. It's what you said without. I don't even think you know what you said.
Nah. Nah, I'm Cloud because literally, okay,
In the
even
square.
hypothetically, if we want, and I'm not admitting, I'm just saying hypothetically, if we want to
Okay.
go run along with that, I brought up the triangle first. I brought it
What?
up. Let's just say hypothetically. No, I'm just saying hypothetically. If I did, I'm just saying I didn't bring it up in the context of me wanting it. I brought it up as in, oh man, I have to deal with this
You're
because
so lucky.
I relate
So
with
lucky.
Cloud a lot because Cloud hates women. If you think about it, just he doesn't want to. He's like, oh, I have these two girls, but really, I want Sephiroth's in the forefront of my mind. These two are distractions right now. Like literally, Cloud is dead set on his goal, the end game of beating Sephiroth. That is the mindset through the entire game. And honestly, I relate to that. I'm like, all these women, distractions. Get away from me. I have to finish what's at the end side of my end goal. You know.
Okay, fair. Jesus Engel. Jesus Engel. I got
exactly. Well, Jesus is not
Um,
Sephiroth. I'm just saying.
you. No. He's not.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying mindset.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
always in your mind. Always in your mind. Yeah.
So I'm just
But-
saying, if we want to hypothetically run with that, then it would be I brought up in the context of like, man, this is
You're
I have
so
to deal with
lucky.
this. I have to deal with it. What?
You're so lucky that person that we mentioned about the candles wasn't awake at that time. Oh, it wasn't the Discord. It wasn't the Discord. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. But look. Wait, I want to point out.
Go ahead, go ahead.
You said okay. You said the shape, right? But you're in if that picture of you, Cloud, right? You're in a square. Are you want to add more context to that?
I'm
In that
a
picture
square.
right now, it's a square. Look,
You are right.
he's a
You
square.
are right.
It's not.
Well, first of all,
So,
it's kind of hard to get a profile picture in a triangle. So that's all I'm saying. Like, pretty sure if you go to social media, it's either squares or circles. So,
so are you saying triangle for? Are you admitting to the triangle?
no, I'm neither can confirm nor deny. Again,
So
I'm just saying
lucky.
hypothetically, if we ran with that, I brought it up
Okay.
first, then it's in the context of I have
Oh
to
my
deal with this.
God.
Like I am with sarcasm, like I have to deal with this, not in a good way. It's just like, oh, I have
Yeah,
to deal
no,
with
no,
this.
I know what you mean. Yeah, this is how we have fun. This is how legit we have fun at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe 6 a.m. sometimes, pushing it. This is fellowshipping in a kind way. but we never go further than that. I'll just say that we never go further than that. Yeah, he likes to be Cloud, and when he streams it to the group chat, he does very good sound effects. I'll give that. We have good sound effects. You know it's true. You know it's true. You know it's true. Oh, good commentary at least. At least good commentary.
good commentary.
I'm just just saying.
But yeah, regarding Final Fantasy VII, we are also two huge nerds of Final Fantasy VII, like the whole lore, honestly, ranging from the anime, The Last Stand. I think is that The Last Stand, that one episode anime, and then there was the one with that special episode for Advent Children of Denzel on the way to the Smile or something. And of course, the Advent Children movie, complete edition, more specifically. And then you have the OG game, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and then the mobile game Ever Crisis, The First Soldier. Dude, I literally know it. Oh my gosh, I know about it. And then you have
you know the date. That's how good you are.
And then and then we have, of course, the remake project, trilogy project, with 2 out already. First was remake, and recently or earlier this year Rebirth, and it's coming next month on PC, which I'm very hyped for.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Just want to point out he's gonna get it. Why did he get the PS5?
I originally did not plan on getting a PS5, and you of course see right here I do have a PS5. The only reason why I got a PS5 was because Rebirth is a timed console exclusive PS5. So really, the reason why I bought a PS5 was to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's how much of a avid fanatic I am for Final Fantasy VII.
How much was your total purchase with that one day? Just you got it like $700
the console
with the game.
Oh, I didn't buy the Oh wait, what, with the game? Because I bought the console before the game.
Okay. Oh, so you were ready. You're pre-planning it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I bought it. I bought it the same month, but not at the same day because I
Mm.
pre-ordered Rebirth a long time ago already, and the release date was the 29th, which is the leap day.
Mm.
I got my PS5 like at least a week or two before the game came out, so I could
Okay.
like,
Oh wow, you were set. Yeah, you were
so
set
I
already.
could like update it, also mess with the settings, and also like since I wanted to get a platinum trophy for Integrate, I played Integrate on PS5 finally. Because
Oh
for
my
context,
God.
audio listeners, I in 2021 when Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate came out, I legit pre-ordered it and got it, but I did not have a PS5. I did not get a PS5 until earlier this year. So literally, I've held the game for like 3 years unopened until earlier this year. I opened it out of its factory sealed packaging, and I'm like, yeah, I popped the
Dang.
disc in, and I transferred my save data from the PS4 for Remake, and then I finally played and Platinum Integrated, which was not that hard, honestly. It's
Yeah,
just like 10,
yeah.
15 hours to get it. But because I Platinum Rebirth, I wanted to also or Platinum first Remake, I wanted to Platinum Integrate, and then I played Rebirth. I enjoyed it. I replayed on hard mode, and I eventually grinded it out and clocked in at 175 hours to platinum the game.
I'm just gonna say the game really should cost like $120 for how much it does have. Just want to put it out there.
I would argue Rebirth has like too much content. Maybe it's probably like a good thing still,
That's
but like
the thing.
there's just so
For
much
the money.
stuff to do.
For the money you
But-
get,
Yeah, with I guess we can talk about how we started getting into Final Fantasy VII, because seven.
Ooh.
I guess Louis, you go first because
Oh.
because how I came across it, I guess, is not how other people would. I guess at least what I mean is I didn't come across the game and grow up with it because I wasn't born. at the
Okay.
time. That's what I mean. So probably you have a better
I
background.
think I have the dumbest freaking way
okay.
that people will probably laugh. I'm just gonna say this. So I've been a person of covers. I'll say this. I thought Overwatch's cover was really fun, like really looking good. I bought it just for that reason. Okay. For some reason, Final Fantasy, just in general, reminded me of Dark Souls. And I thought I was buying Dark Souls
Oh, okay.
the whole entire time. I was like, okay, I'm getting the game I want. Ended up finding out it wasn't Dark Souls at all. But I literally fell in love with it. I always say this. I played also, because if you look at Cloud, he looks like Zoro. Like let's be honest. And but when I was younger, I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, its own character. So Kingdom Hearts, finding out that Kingdom Hearts was the inspiration for Final Fantasy, like the character designs and some ideas, not all of it, obviously. When I got it, I thought Dark Souls, didn't get Dark Souls. Okay, let me play it out. I just spent a lot of money. I'm not gonna throw it away. This is when I first started working, so I that was my hard money, and so ended up freaking loving every single second of it. And then I did the lore. I had to look up everything, like who is who, why is why. But I ended up playing so many hours of the original that I legit did not even care that I bought it by accident. I didn't want to return it anymore. If anything, I killed it within like 10 hours of just knowing, like, look, because there's side quests and there's the all the little gameplays, so you want to know everything about it. I'm that kind of person, want to know about it. And I still have the case somewhere here in my house, but like it was that impactful. But thanks to Kingdom Hearts too, because Kingdom Hearts, once I found out what it's inspired based on, it has the same mechanics if you really look at it, like not one by one, but has like similar enough that it's like switching from Android phone to phone, kind of like level, like in familiarity. You're like, oh, okay, I know it, I know what I'm doing. I got into it so much that I started looking up the lore and wanting to know why. I don't even give spoilers if people haven't played it, and I know some people that are gonna listen haven't heard or know all the lines or know everything, that outcome. That's why I gotta be careful. Another thing I have to be careful of. I know you know all, Joseph, the ending and all. But that's how I got into it. Like finding out that it was the wrong game the whole time. And the whole time, I legit found out within the first chapter. That because I looked up on YouTube, like this is not the game. This is not how it looks. And then I looked up what I got, and it was better than I would ever thought. So a hidden gem, literally. And Kingdom Hearts, already liked it, so I'm like, I'm hooked. Spend my own money, why not keep it? And you know, on the PS4, guys, it is. I'm just saying, if you can don't ever play on the PS4. Don't. If you don't have it for the PS5, just wait for the PC if you have a PC, because the PS5 still has some just horrible looks, even though it ran really well. I would say it's so much worth of content. You're gonna get your money's worth, like beyond. You're gonna feel like you robbed them, like Amazon, but you know, still, way worth it.
Literally what I told myself when I bought Persona 3 Reload. I'm like, this $60-$70 music soundtrack comes with a free game. That's crazy.
Oh, that's true. Persona, I'm gonna legit just saying for the listeners, reason I wasn't into Persona, but I was traumatized by some person, and so I wasn't able to like watch it. It's like one of those feelings, like if your mom has it, you don't want it because it's not cool anymore. Let's put it like that. And so this person had it, and I was like, that's not cool because he has it. And so I stopped, but then Joseph here had it, and he actually recommended it, and I was like, oh, okay, then I'm gonna get into Persona slowly. But the gameplay looks fun. I'm not gonna lie. If I can, yeah. Oh yeah, you did send me the files too of a questionable website, but I already heard. Yeah, guys, yeah, that's what tech nerds do. They find ways to get music.
We innovate. That's what that's what STEM majors do, or engineers in general, or just like any nerd, honestly.
Any nerd that wants the music and dude, it is worth it though. I see why you like the game, and sometimes I think one time I told you to stop just playing it and just one scene, and I was just hearing it the whole time. I'm like, can you just stop moving and just
it was that combat. It was at that combat. I remember.
Yeah, you finished the fight, and then I was just like, yeah, just stay here, because I was actually jamming to it.
It was we were about to finish him off, but like I was just like, nah. Because like honestly, when that specific tracks plays, I literally would slow down because I know I can finish the fight in like within seconds. But like sometimes I will prolong it, so I'll do like the final attack, or in this case, because it's Persona All Out attack, and I'll try to time it on the beat drop, like when the chorus comes in. So like when it's happening, the animation is like literally people will do that too. I'm not the only one, but like I will wait, and sometimes I'll just stay in that battle. When it's my turn and the music's just playing, I'll stay there for like 5 minutes.
And then that's what I had, because I legit, and the call was like, you're talking, and then you stopped, and I was like, can you just not continue on?
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you that. I didn't know that people were like that, but like legit, for Final Fantasy, and to go again, guys, Final Fantasy does have those moments where it's like, it's beautiful. Like, why am I gonna, like, man, I just don't want to spoil things, but like, it's legitimately like it gets your heart moving. I'm a very jealous person, and sometimes Cloud gets in some fights with some of the girls. I'm like, well, why are you touching? Why are you by the guy that does not? Yeah, Cloud is kind of oblivious or doesn't care on girls, but his true love is Tifa, and it's like, bro, let her be. Throughout the game, I just can't say it in moments, but like. Tifa and him are meant to be, in that date. Just saying. But the music makes it really like you get like really attached to what they are meant to be, like, man. I know you gave me the files for it, so I still have it. So guys, if you want, if you can find the files, I would say definitely do it, just for at least Rebirth, you're gonna freaking end up loving it. I would say, didn't it win the award for it?
Yeah,
For
they won the Game Award for best music / score.
See?
And I was like, they better win that at least.
At
There's
least,
no
see?
way they
Like,
lose that.
There you go. At least
Because
that. At
because if
least
they
that.
lost that category, I'm like, nope, it's actually rigged. Actually rigged.
There's no.
I mean, the Game
appreciate all-
Awards is like the Oscars. I know like 90% of the votes are by critics and stuff, but like even then, they should acknowledge that like the music is really good. So
I like this is another thing I'll add to it. I wouldn't have gone to because I've been to orchestras. And that's like the raw, like you like forget MP3, forget FLAC, forget like anything of music. That's like the raw, like you're getting to the source
fidelity possible.
Yeah,
like to the human ear. Like that's the
Yes.
greatest.
Yeah, that's like the raw format of getting music, not digital, just straight up from the source. And I remember this literally. I think within a week that you knew I knew about the game, about about the game and like the ending and actual lore and actual who I like as a characters. Don't not Cloud, but you know, fine. Like you know enough, and like you invited me to that orchestra. I didn't even know that existed. I'm just saying, guys, I did not know. I'm super excited to like hear that music. I know every scene that's gonna play in my mind. Just like, okay, so this is that. I can't say it because I'll give it away, but this is that. Because you're still streaming, right? Not streaming, but like, you know, we still have moments where we like in the Discord, like, oh, we're in chapter 14, I believe. We already passed.
We're 16 right now. Yeah. Remake. 16 of remake. 16 of remake.
So okay, so I missed one, but like,
and
I know
for context, listeners, I'm in a way it's like a good reason for me to replay the game, but we're mainly replaying it because the same individual who asked about the candles for the Wii sensor bar is interested in the lore of Final Fantasy VII. So I was like, okay,
really good.
I'll replay remake, and so that's where we are right now. We're in chapter 16, and eventually, I don't know if she'll get a PS5 or just get a laptop and just play Rebirth on the PC or PS5. I don't know.
Until she can handle it, I hope so, in her own mindset. A listener will eventually be like, yeah, I want to try on my own. Even though she said she wanted gameplay for, I believe, herself, but like now she's getting gameplay. See? So, yeah. And I'm just with the music, no lie. I'm just jamming. Sometimes I'm just like on the side. I already know what's going on. I go like, I'm getting something from my kitchen. And I'm just jamming to it because it's loud. I'm like, yep. I know what's going on. But like, I just don't say stop because obviously you're trying to show it. But I go back to the audio files. Like, because the music in this, guys, this is one thing. Based on the chapter you're on, that determines what music is being played. And except the fighting does change a little bit, but I don't want to say that either. But like, you can tell where you are. If you know it and you replay it, you're like, okay, and now I know where I'm at because the music is like this tone, and it's kind of crazy that they even put detail to that. And I'll give them full props to that person that had to think of, okay, for this chapter we played this kind of theme of music, not like obviously Christmas music, only Christmas, like no, it's like more serious, more light, more happy. And it's insane because I could just tell right away off the bat. I don't have to be like seeing it like, oh, let me see the gameplay. It's just nope. I already know where they are. So yeah. The music 10 out of 10.
For me, how I came across 7, I'm one of those people that came across it when it was already like, oh, you can buy the game digitally on consoles, and I didn't grow up with playing when 7 was out at the time, but I already knew that like it had this cultural impact, especially in the gaming industry, that like it was so iconic and it's so important to a lot of people. So the first time I played it was on, I believe it was on the Switch. Yeah, it was on the Switch.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
Switch. Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh, so you got it digitally. Okay, so digitally.
Yeah, so it was this was around the time already where, and the only reason why I bought it and played it on the Switch was because I heard back in E3 of 2015 they announced that they're remaking 7, and so I was wanting like, because I already knew I wanted a Switch at the time. High school me wanted a Switch at the time, like when it came out later, 2 years later. I also knew I wanted a PS4 because I heard Insomniac Spider-Man was coming out and a new God of War was coming out. And they announced that like, well, they didn't give a release date at the time, but they just said that remake was coming for the PS4 and it would be a console exclusive. So I was like, okay, that's another reason to get a PS4 for a remake. So that's basically, I played 7 on the Switch first, and then I actually, because like when you buy it digitally, they give you like the mods or stuff, like, you know how you can speed through the cutscenes and like auto attack, and like you have like buffed health or something like that. And I didn't play it like that. I played it at, which is kind of absurd, at the regular speed of the game, and I didn't use any of the mods at all. I tried to play it as if I had a PS1 at the time, and I really got hooked into the game. I just got hooked into it. I got like so hooked that I got Ultima, like the Ultima sword, like literally the Ultima weapon. I got that's how invested I was into it. But of course, I couldn't. It's not like I didn't have any guides or anything. I did use guides, so I guess I couldn't really replicate 1-to-1 because at that time there was no guides at all, unless I guess you got the handbook. But even then, it's just like an elementary beginner guide, you know. Yeah. But even then, I really did enjoy the game, and especially the music. And then from there, I got hooked into the lore, because I knew also there was a movie called Advent Children, and then I knew there was another game that had this guy looking so familiar whose name was Zach, and I know it was Crisis Core. But outside of that, I didn't know anything else. So I explored and dived deeper into the lore. Then I found out that like, Advent Children takes place after the end of 7, and then 2 years later, when it first released in theaters, that's when they released Crisis Core, which is a prequel to the first game. So I was like, okay, this is getting a little convoluted. So like the first game, so Advent Children is after, but then the later game is the prequel, which is basically Kingdom Hearts. It's very convoluted too. But basically after that, I played I watched Advent Children. I actually watched I rewatched it twice technically, and the reason why I counted twice is because I rewatched the first version because it's Advent Children, and then Complete Edition, which is the extra, not only the remastered version of the movie, but also it includes 36 more minutes of additional content and footage. So technically on paper I did rewatch it because it is still the same movie, it's just with the extra content. And then I found out that there's more games and more like shows and stuff. There was The Last Stand with Zack. It's like more prequel of Zack's backstory, but in like anime, one episode anime form. The Denzel EP special of On the Way to a Smile, another anime special connected to Advent Children. Then I heard of Dirge of Cerberus. Dirge of Cerberus is interesting, I'll leave it at that. And then I heard of Ever Crisis and The First Soldier, which is like in tangent with Remake coming out, because those were like other projects coming out with it. Because Ever Crisis is a mobile game that is supposed to retell like the story of the original, which is kind of interesting because they're already remaking the game, but it's like, here's a mobile version to retell.
They tried, because I think they were trying to go into the mobile realm in general.
But there are some interesting things from Ever Crisis that do contribute to the remake trilogy. But nonetheless, I basically got so hooked into it. Like I played all the games, I watched everything about. I even watched. Even before Remake came out, like, here's the complete Final Fantasy VII lore as of this year. Like, that's how invested I was. Just to make sure I got the timeline correct and, like, I understood the lore. Dude. And then I played Remake, and by the end of Remake, I was so confused. So I replayed it again in hard mode.
Everybody got that.
And then I eventually loved it. I loved the ending. I loved the direction it was going. And I spent about 20 more hours to platinum the game. And then I waited for Integrate. Even before Integrate, I actually listened to a lot of podcasts on theory crafting on it. And the one with Maximilian dude, and he's the same person I watch for Rebirth. Like anything Final Fantasy VII related, I'm going to watch, even if it's just him reading and analyzing. I can't pronounce analyzing interviews and like commentary from like the directors of the game or the dev team. There was two podcasts that featured him, and one of them was 2 hours and 49 minutes long, and the other one was 3 hours and 48 minutes long, I think. But both were on Remake and like what possible theories, what happened, like the interpretations post game, and like how they could do things in the future. And I was just like, wow, actually a lot of this is lining up with what I thought, but there's also stuff that like I did not know. Like if I'm at level 3 theory crafting, sometimes they went to level 7 theory crafting. I'm like, what the heck? I'm not even, how do you pinpoint, how did you get there? I'm like, what the heck? But like, yeah, I was so much into like even reading Reddit forums and like even
theories.
Unfortunately, Twitter at the time. Twitter's toxic. But like, unfortunately, I did read some threads there too. But I was so hooked into like what people thought, what certain things could mean, what I may have missed, and basically that's what I did before playing Intergrade. And then I watched another podcast with Max Dude on Intergrade, which is like an hour 50 minutes long. And I just spent another 2 years every now and then like going back to like what people theory crafted and what potential interpretations until Rebirth came out, because of course I had to wait until Rebirth came out. And Rebirth came out, similar thing with Remake. I beat it the first time, was confused again, replayed it the second time, and I understood it and I actually loved it again. Not just, and there is of course bias because I am a Final Fantasy VII fan, and of course this is Final Fantasy VII. Not just because I'm a Final Fantasy VII, I'm automatically going to love it, but because I understand what direction they're going with already since Remake. I was in agreement and I liked where they were going, because I know some people disagree with where they're going and they don't like it, which is fine, because I mean, some people will love there's gonna be confusion, but also some people just love the OG for what it is, and I guess they're expecting a 1-to-1 remake. But I'm like, if you're doing a 1-to-1 remake, it's boring. It's going to be boring. As much as I love it to be 1-to-1, what they're doing is still mostly 1-to-1. You can't dispute that. And I'm like, to make it also a really great experience for newcomers who, like, this is their first time playing 7 and they have not played the original. All the more they're going to play, it will probably incline them to play the original and be like, oh wow, I did not know they actually added this in Remake or this in Rebirth to like do this and do that, But the point being, Remake to Rebirth, that journey was amazing. And now, Luis, you and I both are in the process of waiting till the third game comes out, which I am predicting confidently it will be called Return. It will be called Return, or if not Return, then maybe Requiem. Something that starts with RE to indicate it's the finale. But honestly, Return seems to be most likely the name, although there's nothing hard confirmed yet. But I would not be surprised if it's called Return, because honestly, it is the last game in the trilogy. So
I say this year upcoming, obviously in a week from now, this date, or I would say 2026, 2027 max. Crazy, but that would make sense for what is already the timelines they've been doing, like time periods or release dates.
Yeah, and also 2027 makes much more sense because it is the 30th anniversary of 7.
Man,
because I feel like if anything in 2026 they can drop a trailer. At most they will drop a demo, but I don't think a demo. I think a trailer seems more likely, and then 2027 you drop a demo and then you drop the full game. That's my thought process, because also just from a marketing standpoint, to space things out, keep the hype there. Because normally that's how they've done it. Drop a trailer, drop the demo, drop the game.
2026 is gonna be, I would say, but if even then, I would say in September time. Not even like mid year or something like that. It's like when all the games are coming out. That's their form of like, look, we don't have a game yet, but we have something coming up, something cooking up.
Yep.
which would make sense. Yeah, you're right. That is the pattern. That is the pattern of it. But I mean, the name, at least the name drop 2026. 2020. No, give them time. No, give them time. I don't mind.
I think if anything, next year the only news we will get is how development is going.
Hints of development.
Just an update on the development process, because we already got some interviews and commentaries from the directors saying that, like, yeah, we already have this in mind. And recently they said the plot, like the script, is already finalized, and now it's just a matter of developing those scenes, and from storyboards to actual renderings, and then of course the voice acting, you need to record those, mocap, stuff like that. And they even acknowledged that because the three main directors are Nomura, Hamaguchi, I forget the other person's last name, but the three of them were also involved in the original, so the three of them are vital. And I know Nomura directed the first game remake, then Hamaguchi directed Rebirth, the second game, and I know the last person who I'm forgetting the last name, but that he is going to direct the last game, from what I believe. I recall correctly from the information. But yeah, it's interesting how the same three who were heavily involved in the original are the same three involved for this remake project as a whole. And but they did confirm that, like, Hamaguchi said to the person who I'm forgetting their last name. Oh, Katase. There you go. Oh my gosh, it's Katase.
I don't want to do it. Wow, I'm not Peter.
Hamaguchi confronted Katase, or it could be the other way around. But either way, I know both of their names were mentioned. That they were thinking of doing something that was not originally included in the original game for the last game, Return, or whatever the third game is. And my interpretation of that was they're gonna do an Advent Children thing, because it makes sense that it's not part of the original. Like, sure, you can do Crisis Core if you want, but they already re-released Crisis Core Reunion, and they did that already. Dirge of Cerberus, I mean, they already kind of did Dirge of Cerberus integrated with Underground. So, I mean, I don't think there's much more Dirge of Cerberus content you can kind of do. So really, the only content in my head they can pull from is Advent Children, because that wasn't a game. That there's still so much scenes you can pull from it,
or add on to.
Or add on to as well. Yeah. In my mind, it's either like they play a flashback or some type of dream sequence where it's Cloud versus Sephiroth and Advent Children, and it doesn't have to be even like them going back to that time period. It could just be like, oh, Cloud's having a dream or something. That's it. Like, boom, I'll be satisfied. Like, dude, I have Cloud in Fenrir costume. I have his AC outfit. I'm satisfied, dude.
Oh yeah,
because like I have the mod in Remake for the PC where he has his Advent Children variant, and I'm like, how do they not have this as DLC? And then in my mind, I'm like, maybe they're saving it for the third game. It makes sense because you also kind of want to bring hype to it and not release it too early. But I don't know. So I'm not the director, but I'm just saying my thought process on that, because they do have that creative decision to do it, because out of all the other content from the compilation, there's not a lot you can pull more from both Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core. So really, the most logical answer has to be Advent Children, because there's very subtle references in both Remake and Rebirth for Advent Children, but no direct reference at all.
No, I mean, to be fair, I feel like they're gonna add on instead to Advent Children, because they can go further with it, and then they can go back to it to like okay, we added, but let's also what we didn't add. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right. I feel like that would be the last bit of it, but there's more to add and to take, not to take back, but go forward and also show what's been behind of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense a little bit, but
I could see that. Yeah.
But I see you told me about your progress, and this would make sense. This would be a 2027 timeline period, if anything. As much as that's so much content you have to add. and so much backstory going back that you have
I mean,
to already.
they could, but they could also just like do dump exposition, because I mean that's kind of part of the end game of the games. It's always just been like, when you're at the last chapter, it's just like dump like exposition, and you're like, what the heck is happening? But I could see how they could lead up to it too, but also maybe they don't need to, and they just have this weird dream sequence where like it's Cloud versus Sephiroth, and it just so happens they're in Midgar wearing the Advent Children costumes and they're fighting.
That's so rushed.
I mean, I don't exactly know how they'll do it, but like they can go either way. Like either they build up to it and develop it and flesh it out thoroughly, or it's just this like they just insert it here, and it's like, why did Cloud have that? And then it may have some type of factor to influence Cloud in whatever story they develop for the third game.
Give more podcasts, speculations and add videos. I mean, fair. It would answer enough, and it would say enough, but like, I mean, yeah, the cutscenes shorter, because literally you just add it to fights and make it dumb here, simple.
Honestly,
this is what happens.
Just make this game take like 70 hours to beat. Just main story alone, I'll be happy.
I mean, yeah, more than 11 hours or max 15 hours than before. So, like, because technically, yeah, you can 100. Like, you platinum it super easy. Like on the PS4.
Remake was I was satisfied, but of course it's like I've played longer JRPGs to platinum, but like I was satisfied because like the way Remake is kind of like a Yakuza game. I mean, not much. It's very linear. It's not in a bad way. It's just like it's easy to do, and so the combat makes it hard at times, but like it's not super complicated, is what I mean. Whereas Rebirth is like, there's so much to do. This is really going to take a lot of time.
Don't add mini games. No. Do add mini games, but not so many as Rebirth, because like, my goodness.
I feel like they're gonna remove some, and they're gonna replace some mini games. So instead of adding or subtracting, it's just keep the same amount, but just swap out games.
Yeah, because please don't add more. Because like, for me, well, other than 100ing it, is more like, why does it feel like I need to? For me, it felt like I needed to know more, and I felt like the only other way was through mini games that I would find out more. So I just didn't. I was hoping no, please don't add more, and then actual lore is there, and then I'm like, wait, why wasn't this said or addressed or at least hinted on until you got the mini games? I know you don't do them because obviously when you stream it, like, you just want to like get through it and get the story. But it definitely builds a different world. I'm not gonna lie, and it's so annoying that it does that. Because I'm like, I thought I was playing the actual game, and it was actually getting done. And the mini games, should not usually add anything, but they add more detail.
I will say with 7, it's really there's so much to be invested in it. Like, sure, again, it's not gonna be for everyone, for sure. Because like, I know people prefer 8, prefer 9, prefer 10 over 7, and that's completely fine. Every game is subjective, and people can argue like, oh, 7's only getting the remake treatment because like it's just like more popular. Doesn't mean it's better. I'm like, sure, I'll give you that, but like there's also so much to dive into it with 7, because 7, what they did is so much expansion on the compilation of its lore, and I do believe it's worthy of a remake because of how much they've expanded on it. Because like, yeah, I know people wanted 8 to be remade, but it only got a remaster. I know people want 9 to be remade, and still no news on that yet. But like, the way, and you can argue like some weird storytelling, yeah, sure, it's convoluted, fine, that's fine. But the characters themselves are worth investing in alone. Like, you can even rule out music for all I care. You can just look at the characters, just look at the world building, and like,
how much is there to actually kill off?
Yeah, you can see why people are invested in it, even if you don't like it. That's fine. Because like it's not the one and done game. It's not supposed to be like, oh, this is the game for everyone. Like, no, I don't think any game is for everyone, because I think everybody's gonna have like differing opinions. That's that's why every game is subjective. Because like, of course, if you ask me, my game of the year for this year is Rebirth, and even if it didn't win the game of the year for the Game Awards, that's fine. Because subjectively, I mean, Astrobot's fine. At least Elden Ring didn't win, which I'm very happy it didn't win. It shouldn't have. It shouldn't have even been nominated.
Hear that? What a bias! What a
No,
bias!
Elden Ring shouldn't have even been nominated. It's a freaking DLC. It's not a new game. Why? Now I can see why people will argue too. Like, why is Rebirth? Because it's like, oh, it's part of the same narrative of a larger trilogy. I'm like, yeah, but it's a new game still. It's not a DLC. It's a completely like different game compared to Elden Ring. It's DLC. Yes, it's big DLC, but it's still Elden Ring. It's not like a completely new game. It's still the same.
It was fun to play Elden Ring, but it wasn't. It won enough awards, I would say. It won enough awards.
I knew this year, like, hey, as long as Rebirth wins music, I'm happy, because they deserve to win music. If they lose music, I will actually protest. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What crimes are we committing here?
Retake, guys, retake. Let's do it. Retake.
That's what the third game's gonna be. If they lost, retake. Final Fantasy VII retake. The game.
Imagine there's a retake. You're like, oh, so I was right this whole time. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be somewhat of a return, because like I just hope they don't do more cutscenes, because that would be actually kind of sad. Because I just give it another year, let it cook a little bit more. But because they can use cutscenes, but because cutscenes can answer so many questions at once, yes, but they're short, and then we've seen it here.
As long as you give me the ability to see certain Advent Children scenes be played out again, 1-to-1.
Oh, give some fan service at least.
Oh, definitely, they're gonna do fan service. They've been doing fan service. Whether it be directly or indirectly, they've been. As long as I see, even if he doesn't do Omni Slash version 5, as long as I see that iconic stab of impalement, like that'll satisfy like my fan service for Advent Children, because that is an iconic scene. Like, even if it's not in the destruction of Midgar, that's fine too. It can be like in a different battlefield or something, as long as it kind of like, again, mostly 1-to-1. That's fine with me too. You can take some creative freedom and changing it up a little bit. Because honestly, I would be surprised. That would keep me more hooked. Because then I would be like, oh, I predicted this, but they did this. I'm hooked, you know? So at least I'm like, I have everything down to its prediction. Like, oh, actually, they did change some things up.
Let's see how I'm gonna dude, when I get it, I'm legit gonna see how much you got it right. Where I'm gonna go back to this podcast, like, let's see, is it 1-to-1? Dude, you could do that, like, 1-to-1.
There's so much more we can talk about. We've even talked about this before, Luis, but because we don't want to spoil too much either.
I know, that's the limitation right now. It's like I can say so much of the scenes we've seen and what they can lead to, or what. Man, like, I'm so bad, guys. Just know, I repeat this always. I'm so bad at spoiling that I'm trying to hold back. Say no, don't do it. That's why when you guys were streaming or talking about the characters, I shut up, because I'm like, no. What if I say something like, have you guys met this character? And like, wait, what? Like, who? And then boom, there you go. Like, I gave it away. I'm such bad at spoiling, so that's why I'm trying to watch my words. I'm trying to take it in. Even when we were talking about the roadmap of 2026 or 2027, like, what is there I cannot say that, like, what can I not say that gives the audience that, oh, so this is gonna happen in the end, like, why I'm gonna play this whole game? Because I know people get mad that just you tell them like mid-game what happens, or maybe the ending, maybe like the beginning, they get mad already. So I want to be conscious of that. And also, we have people from church that a person unfortunately doesn't want to finish everything yet, because they don't have time yet, and then they're gonna get a PS5 to play the game. Not calling them out at all. But Yeah, self-conscious on that. But I think so far what you have predicted, well, from the talks we actually had off, just on Discord, like 5 in the morning, stuff like that. I think you're right. I can't see an alternative of it, but it'll be in the same realm of it. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be far off. Like, I can't say that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did 1-to-1 even. 1-to-1's fine with me. Mostly 1-to-1 is also fine with me. Because like how many scenes we got in the game, both games, where it was 1-to-1 and also mostly 1-to-1. Because like you gotta spice it up a little bit too.
I mean, could be 1-to-1, but with a twist, as in like we're not gonna repeat exactly every single thing. Like right now, like you guys thought we're gonna get 1-to-1, but there's still add-on story because they could cut it off. They could be like, no, we want to continue this on for the characters. Leave it at maybe of what it could happen, and then boom, we're left with more questions. Not like confused, but left with, is there more, or is this what they just meant to leave it off on? I hope they just don't leave it at confusion again, because the community was confused, and I was confused too. But going at it again, I did understand. I wasn't mad. I was like, oh, so I see where you guys are going with. But since it's gonna be our first play, everybody's gonna be like, what? Or, oh, this is how it ends. You know what I mean? The first play is always the one that everybody gets confused at. Second play, because I know some people like me and you do go back again and play it again. So like, really? What? Let's see. What did we miss? What maybe? Because I don't know. I thought I missed dialogue at first. Like maybe there's dialogue I missed. Maybe I have to talk to some NPCs here. But like that, I hope that Return doesn't go as in like one. I hope they go 1-on-1, but with some twist on it. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Same thing with Rebirth. I mean, they did mainly 1-to-1. Actually, I would argue 85% of it was 1-to-1.
See?
And then the other 15 was like either add-on or like some different twist. That's fine with me. Because like you're not deviating too much, because it's one thing to, I mean, of course you can't cater to all fans, of course, but it's, if you are remaking a game, there's a chance to remake it in different ways as well, while still staying true to the original. I mean, that's why you see different remakes of movies as well. Not all of them are 1-to-1. There are some differences too. Like some movies pay homages to the original while they still do some things differently. You know, like you can't. Because I feel like if you do a 1-to-1 for any sort of like show, movie, or game, it's not going to be interesting as much as if something were new. Because imagine like you're watching the same episode again, but like, oh, I guess now it's rendered at 60 frames. So what's really new? You know, like because you're gonna know everything beat for beat in your head, and like nothing's really surprising other than the fact of nostalgia of, yeah, I guess I'm rewatching it or re-experiencing it again.
A different format or not different frames, but I would say honestly, I wouldn't be mad if it was like a Rebirth kind of style. I wouldn't. I mean, I know there's people that probably can argue, but then you can't please every consumer and every aspect of it.
You can't.
That's impossible. Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, as long, I feel like they're gonna release it 2027, and I don't care and don't mind if they don't do another intermission DLC like they did for Intergrade. Like, no, just spend the next, like now up until whenever, if it does release in 2027, that development period of making the third game. Because honestly, I would rather get the third game 1 year sooner than 1 year later. If it was a hypothetical of like, should they release next year another like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Integrate or like another intermission DLC, but then the return release date gets pushed to like 2028, or would I rather have it released 2027 with no DLC in between? I'd rather have the 2027 release date instead of like having a smaller DLC next year released.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I mean, alone Rebirth was big, so I feel like you could argue there was a bunch of DLC in there already that they could have had as DLC. So
that was 2 games in one. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it could have been like so many content there as DLC paid for, aside from the game. But they just said, no, you pay this much, you get this much in the game. I'm like, oh, too many. It's too good.
I hope they. I mean, if they do that same amount of like content, dang, like, you guys are too generous. Charge me more. No, please don't. But like, thank you for that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Return, or the third game. I'm gonna call it Return for sure. If I had to, but I'm also just gonna keep calling it Return for now until there's an official title.
Yeah, until the I was going to say, cause like, man, once we all are on the same page, I'm gonna let it go. I'm telling you now.
Yep.
I like, not me you same page, but like when everybody can understand it from at least our church group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you know more on it that I think that could of the characters, why of the characters, some characters, aspects on the thoughts, like more of Cloud, of course, too, because he's going insane from where we are, or from where you guys are now. As to why, but I don't want to give it out.
Yeah,
I don't want to obviously give it out, but like, man, 14. Or no, you said no, yeah, 16. You said right? 16. Okay,
yeah, 16,
so yeah,
16.
you guys are even deeper into it. Once we get there, I get to see it more for you guys, and then explain more. Obviously, because you're gonna have to. I know you're explaining as you go. Definitely gonna be more to explain. I want to talk to you more about it. I think we should add. I don't think this topic of Final Fantasy is gonna go away anytime soon. I'm just saying, guys. There's
gonna
more.
be a recurring theme probably.
Yes.
Aside from tech, it's gonna be like a recurring like category.
Yes. It can lead to other games, of course. We're not just saying this game. We're still learning what other games Joseph likes, but I'm all into. I feel like gaming is tech, so I'm into it. I always give it a shot. I never just just hate it and that's it. I don't know how you are with it. Some games could be boring. I mean, when I get Persona, I'm gonna talk about it because I want to see more on it. The music already banger. Gameplay understandable. Lore understandable. Nothing so far that has turned me off from it when you play it. So that I'll say that, and anybody can have an input on that. But that's maybe my curiosity side is saying like, oh, let's dig more deeper into it. I'm gonna see what lore it has as well. I don't know if you have been already looking into it, but it is interesting how it plays. And don't tell me you already have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh shoot. Okay. Like I want to see it all. I want to see it because the style of it's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I finally know a game that actually has its own style and not mix it up for another game.
Oh yeah, like it's very stylized. It's very specific. It knows what it's like presenting itself as. So
that yeah, there we go. Like that, it's not, or it doesn't look similar to another game that I think it is. My mistake. Lord of the Rings.
Even the color scheme of even the color scheme of that game, you can already tell it's probably like a Persona game.
Yes, there we go. Cause Elden Ring, Lord of the Rings, they look similar. So I'm like I'm saying if I look from afar, right? Like I'm not, obviously they all have their different stuff. I'm saying from afar, if I had to guess it, I'm like, I think this one, and obviously I find something else. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So a Persona 5 or a Persona game is a Persona game, no matter which one. So
because for me, the indicators is either the visuals or the music. Because I know visually, okay, if it's blue, it's 3. If it's yellow, it's 4, and if it's red, it's 5. And then for music, if it's jazz, it's 5. If it's contemporary piano, it's 4. And then if it's hip hop and
if it's
hip hop, then it's 3. I know.
Oh, okay. So that's like
That's what I'm saying. It's very stylized. They define themselves really well, and it's very identifiable.
That's gonna be one that's a bring up, because that is exactly how I see, or Final Fantasy. Besides us streaming, that's how I legit can tell.
Besides the huge Buster sword you see in the back,
that it breaks all law of physics.
and the Masamune.
Oh my! Like, oh man, you know what? And our beautiful way of telling what we're seeing. Sometimes our reactions tell me like, oh, I'm just saying that those reactions are priceless and tell me where we are. Because like, if it's nothing going on, if there's no fight scene, it's gonna be the music. If it's very like what's going on period kind of moments, like, oh, they're seeing this. What's it called? Man, I wish those people in our church already knew about it. Because I don't want to spoil them. Bad at spoiling. But 2027, man, what, we're hitting 2025, 2 years from now.
Yep.
The PS6 will be out. GTA 6 won't be out, guys. So I'm calling it now. Would you play GTA 6 if it came out?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I did not really play GTA 5, so I'm not sure. But I wouldn't mind trying it at the very least.
Okay.
Yeah, growing up, I didn't really play GTA, so.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes sense, because every parent, worried about, their kids are gonna start shooting if they play this game.
No, but more so, like, it just didn't appeal to me. I guess I'm one of those people that it just didn't appeal to, really.
Your innocence was never broken. Gotta break it, guys.
No.
Nah. How can you not be? It literally, when Cloud is using a big sword to destroy innocent people, innocent workers, they don't know what they're doing. But I mean, and he slides with that sword himself. So fair.
Well, I just like it because it's heightened.
Because
it's heightened. No. It's not just based on like, I can drive cars and not like, no, I want to swing a big sword, throw fireballs, to like,
and be next to a hot girl the whole time.
Okay, all right. That to each their own. That's not me. I do not stand by these terms. I do not stand by these terms and conditions.
What do you mean that's you every time?
That is against TOS. That is against TOS. I do not.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Every time you mention the girl's name, we're like, oh, Jesse, oh, Tifa, like, what's going on here, huh? This square you're in, like.
That's crazy.
No lie, dude, Cloud is kind of oblivious. Like, they like you, right? I hope he do know. He be do knowing. But yeah, like, there's. I'll get more open. I'll tell you that, guys, for sure. The conversations we have, Joseph, because I know I tell you more.
Yeah.
Because the detail this game has is insane on the lore side, not just the music side, but they thought about every single step of it. Like, I would say even your way of thinking it is, they're gonna throw you off so much. I say you have the gist of it, yes, but you're gonna have like
a lot of the things I thought for Rebirth, like a lot of them didn't happen exactly. I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's a roadmap, but it's not the details. Like, I'm not saying obviously the final endings, but I feel like even knowing that, I still will be like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, is this really happening? Other than fan service, because that always happens. Fan service will always get you like a little fangirl moment, but like when you know the gist of it, but you don't, kind of, if that makes sense, like that's when it's more better. And 2027, hurry up. Or 2026, just let me know the title. That will get me going. Just let me know the title.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Joseph. Sorry.
Yeah, with that, Luis, we talked a lot. Ranging from quantum computers to AI to control Wii Remote
The
infrared
Wii.
sensors to, I mean, aside from the background on us, to now even Final Fantasy VII, we are officially over the 3.5 hour mark.
Oh no! Cut it down! Cut it down! Cut it down!
No, you're good.
please.
You're good. I feel like this is a great way to start off episode 1, and then like, you know, we'll
I'm
figure
gonna
it
look
out.
back to it.
But yeah, with that, Luis, I know we can definitely talk a lot more, but I feel like to suffice for that first episode,
Oh my gosh, you gotta cut it down.
is there any? Because I feel like this is long as it is because this is the first episode and people are really getting to know not just who we are, but also like what topics are we interested in. Because as it's pretty evident right now, like we're past 3.5 hours talking about several topics, and so
Yeah.
like I can promise you future episodes will be trimmed down, but like it just goes to show that like even then it's kind of hard. It's like there's so much to talk about. It's not necessarily hard. It's just there's so much to talk about, even if it's like 1 to 2 topics. But yeah,
Yeah,
with that,
okay.
Luis, I'll give you the floor for any final words or any last things you would like to share.
Man,
If
my
it-
mind's went through so many. No, I'm just really grateful to know that I have a friend here that knows literally most of what I've never been able to talk about because it makes
Ditto.
me. Yeah, no, legitimately, no lie, because I don't want to bore people to death, but like at the same time, I want to talk about it, and I don't need a therapist. A therapist will probably get bored too, but like no, like legit, like, and then somebody that says it, and I'm like, oh, I understand what you're saying, as in like tech, video games, Final Fantasy, so much again, and just understanding like, oh, that's not just me, you know. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to bore people to death. See, oh, and I'll just say that too. I legit was so eager to talk about this in the podcast because Joseph brought it up first. I legit bought the mic within like I think 5 minutes when you said you want to do a podcast on it. I was just like, nope, find it now because I trusted him. I wasn't looking for a mic, but I trusted you on the mic, and I was like, nope, I'll get it now. And yeah, I will probably return to Amazon. Don't worry. No, I won't. It's actually a useful mic. So yeah. I think that's it. Honestly, I'm just grateful that I have that. That's it for everybody to hear.
For sure, Luis. For me, the last thing I'll share is I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the Wii, with the sensor bar and like the Wii remote. I did mention I have a crazy story to share. Or not crazy, but I just had a story to share, and I guess this will be my like closing statement or whatnot. But it's not super long. But there was one time I brought my Wii over to play Smash Brawl at my friend's house, but I forgot the sensor bar. And so, yes, Brawl can be played without it because you're just playing either Wii remotes or GameCube controllers, or if you had the Wii Pro controller. So you don't really need to use it as a Wii remote to navigate, but you needed the sensor bar to navigate from the Wii menu to open the game, obviously. Yeah. And so, since I didn't want to go back home and nobody wanted to go to my house either, I was like, screw that. So you want to know what I did?
What did he do? How did he do it other than candles?
So,
no way.
So to give a little context, like the living room TV was close to like the front door, right? And so what I did was, because there was daytime, it was during the day, I took one of the Wii remotes, and the Wii's still on, right, in the TV. I went outside, I brought a Wii remote with me, I pointed it at the sun, and I put a finger in front of the Wii remote, so like the same way you can block light a little bit, and it kind of shows like 2 different lights, because I know it can produce, if I block it with my finger, it can produce 2 rays. Yes, and so I just wanted to try and see if it would work, and my friend was saying, hey, the remote, like you can see the hand. I was like, okay, tell me where to go. And then we eventually booted up Brawl, and it worked.
Yes.
I was like, you know, I may have risked getting blind, But at least we all had fun playing Smash that day.
You're like, don't worry, guys. I got it. Just tell me where to go.
I was
Oh my
literally
god.
like, okay. I'm staring at the sun clearly because I'm just trying to like point it properly, and then they're just telling me where to go. And I'm like, okay, do I press A now? I press A. Okay, we got it to work.
That's so smart. I mean, as long as you know what you're doing, you know enough.
Because you just need to know that like,
some science,
you just need two rays of light. And the sun is the greatest source you could ever have, and then just put like your hand in front of it, and then technically you do get 2 points of rays of light.
Yeah.
It works. So I guess aside from car headlights, if you are at a house and it's like daytime and you forgot the sensor bar, you could go outside and just point it at the sun with a hand in front, and it'll work.
You need to print a screen match. No, honestly, I'm gonna play Wii Bowling though.
Oh, well then, I don't know.
That's like if like you would have to depend on the game that has just there. You know, you put sideways your controller and then you play like that.
Yeah.
But dang, see, we put science in here. We're gonna bring science. We're gonna bring science no matter what. If physics brings science, even though we don't try to. Oh.
But yeah, that was like one of the proudest achievements in my life. I was like, I actually didn't think it would work, but I just said I'll try it. Because in theory, it is a ray of light, but I just didn't know if it would work well. Because I was literally putting my hand in front of the sun and I'm pointing at it. And so it worked. I was like, all right, we booted up Brawl. We don't need the Wii Remote to aim anymore. It works. Oh, yeah, that's my story. Right? This is my story. I live to tell the tale.
Oh, you live to tell the tale? No.
Yeah, that is my final, like, my last final thoughts.
Amen to that.
You know, just bring it back full circle, because I know I did mention it earlier, and I did want to bring it back. I didn't want to leave it like, oh, it was never mentioned again. Well, yeah. Okay. So I guess aside from a sensor bar, you could have candles, incandescent bulbs, car headlights, or the sun.
The sun itself that can blind you guys. You know, so careful with what the last option there. Maybe just watch a YouTube video. How about that? Of people playing Brawl. And pretend you're playing. There you go. Oh, that's instead.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's my story. Will I do it again? Maybe not.
Hopefully you never do it again.
I mean, I guess you could wear sunglasses. It'll be fine, I guess. I did not wear sunglasses. Disclaimer, I did not wear sunglasses for that time.
No, because you gotta make 2 sources of light. You can't do that. Oh, fair sunglasses, but
no, because like for your eyes, because like I'm just pointing the remote and my hands in front of it to get the 2 points of light. So it's just to protect my eyes. But when I did that before, I didn't wear any sunglasses. Thankfully, it wasn't long, but still, it's dangerous to stare at the sun.
Okay, this person we mentioned, don't do that at your own home. Instead of freaking doing candles, I'd rather you do candles and be out there, just be like, I'm ready to throw it. And
basically,
boom.
It's a would you rather have candles as your sensor bar or the sun as your sensor bar?
Don't do that, because she'll be like, what if this? What if that? I called her literally in the chat when I told her, I was like, okay, Mrs. What If, because you want to find out if this will work. This is why you're trying to do it. She's literally Miss What If. She caused, like, we were like all hanging out, and she said, what if this? And it went like for the longest time, literally. So don't do that. Just stick to the candles. Just stick to the candles, okay? That the candles will. How about a bystander with a bucket of water when the candles? Because think about it, the candles will eventually like melt to like deep in, so then you lose the actual flame.
True, that is true. I could see that.
Yeah, so you know the wax covering it. Yeah.
Fair.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that I digress. That is my closing statement. And honestly, on a real note, I am very grateful too for getting to know Luis on like a better and deeper note, because again,
Mm.
what he ditto to what he said, like I didn't really have anyone to talk to with these things, because like it's usually just like one specific category, and then like when I switch to another category, it's something they're unaware of or not really interested in.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
this alone right here shows that like we've ranged through a broad amount of topics, and we're so invested into them that we did not like. I forgot we're almost hitting 3 hour 45 mark at this point. But
Oh
like,
my god.
but like, yeah, it just goes to show, and like for sure, I'm excited for this podcast. And future episodes are definitely going to be shorter, but like this first one solidifies like who we are and how invested we are in discussing these topics in great detail.
We can come
Yeah.
back to see how far we gone.
With that, yeah, I am Joseph. I am the co-host of Two Sides of the Same Coin, and I also have here
Luis.
Luis,
Luis,
and
just
we
Luis.
just Luis, yeah. And we both sign out, and we'll see you guys the next episode.
Peace, guys.